dirt roads to rock crawling, two-buck chuck to screaming eagle, moonshine to 50-year-old single malt. We talk about it all here on Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey with your hosts, Jason and Chris.
Welcome to Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey Podcast, episode 179, recorded in the home studio with our special guest at Trail Hero, which we'll get to in a second. Chris, how are you doing?
You welcomed me back into your house.
Yes, it's been a while. I forgot where I lived.
It has been a while. I think it's been about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a chaotic 3 weeks. You've been off.
Love you a long time, but with inflation, don't love you so long anymore.
You've been to and from Trail Hero, and I've been working.
Yeah, well, that's good.
I did recreate a little bit, but I've been working.
Yeah, we'll get into that because you did get out on the trail and you had your first birthday. Apparently, Rodney Muller set you up with a birthday cake. That was epic.
Such dick moves all the time.
But so good. That is great. I've never gotten a birthday cake for wheeling, so I'm a little jealous.
You wheel every other weekend.
Well, that's what we do here on Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey. Well, half of us.
Well, I drink wine and whiskey. So
well, there you go. So we were. We, as in Lorenzo and I, were at Trail Hero.
That's right.
2022. Still hungover from that event. Not from a literal, drinking sense, but just drunk on all the fun that we had.
Drunk, fun drunk.
In freaking incredible, epic. These are all understatements. I don't know. There's not a word that encompasses how much fun we had. And you just have to go there and experience it. The people that we were with, our camp was unbelievable, off the chains. We had several camps within camps, as we seem to have now moving forward, just like KOH and stuff. Yeah. But it's so cool because at night, everybody just comes together around the fire or kitchen or whatever. Night run. And then that happens too. It's like 11 o'clock at night and somebody yells night run. It wasn't me. James. It wasn't me this year. Wasn't James either.
What? No.
It was the Utah boys, I think. Night run, which was...
Who's at the door?
Yeah. James is here. He wants to go on night run.
You got here fast.
So... It's great. A lot of fun. And then, we happen to have a 3-time king in camp, Randy Slauson.
How cool is that? He
was great. It was so much fun hanging out with him. And he's just a cool cucumber, man. A lot of people don't get him. They feel intimidated or whatever. And he's super cool, super knowledgeable, obviously, on the sport, and fun to hang out with. And I've got some great stories that we'll get into. But for this episode, early in the week, so I had a few people that I contacted prior to Trail Hero that I wanted to interview. And this individual I had been speaking with, he has family near the Bay Area.
Oh, really?
So he's like, yeah, we're coming down to the Bay Area. Maybe we can do a podcast. And I said, yeah, it's always better to do it in person. Just sound quality, the whole reading off of each other, playing off of each other and stuff. And it didn't work out. And then so I said, hey, you live there, in Hurricane.
Oh, he does?
Well, somewhere in the immediate area.
Okay.
And I said, hey, we got to make this happen. He goes, absolutely. I said, let's do this early in the week. And he did. So Dave Wong, we finally got on the podcast.
Cool.
Extreme rock crawling. He's got a moon buggy, Jesse Haynes moon buggy.
Haynes Fabrication.
Yeah, and he's a hell of a driver, been in the sport for a while, and knows the game very well, plays the game very well. And as we'll hear here, he ends up winning Trailbreaker 2022 at Trail Hero, which
apparently has no fear.
Which is the epitome of the sport.
Yeah.
This is the hardest rock crawling event in a vehicle on the face of the earth. Let's just put that out there.
Is
okay?
it rock crawling or is it sandstone crawling? I mean, it seems.
Okay, tomato, fucking tomato. What do you weren't even fucking there,
No,
so you
I know,
can't even
I'm
divide the hairs
I watch
here,
the
Chris.
videos and I'm
Come
like,
on.
I don't see boulders. I see just
dude,
chasms and stuff.
It is stuff that I wouldn't even want to walk up or try and climb up. You throw me a rope and say, "Hey, rappel up this." No, I ain't doing it. And these
Right?
guys are doing it in their rigs. So,
I know.
Having the media pass, you're right there on the course, looking at these vehicles, negotiating this terrain, and like Dave says, it's a puzzle. You're trying to figure out the puzzle, and it is so freaking cool. I love the technicality, of the sport. So, anyways, we met up with Dave. We, meaning Lorenzo and I,
Right.
Oh no, wait. It was you, Chris. You were there, so
That's right. Well, I just beamed in real quick,
Dave just. I said, "Hey, you ever do a podcast before?" He goes, "No." I go, "Hey, we like to be your first. We were the first for Kevin Jones. All these different people. We were there first. So
That's right. Everybody's a weird and once.
We like being there first. So Dave's. I give him the rundown and. And then we start recording, and I don't know. I had mentioned your name that you weren't there, the other half of the podcast and whatever. And so I go, yeah, we got this great freaking moon buggy, rock crawler, World Hall of Fame, blah, 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 just pumping up Dave Wong. And he goes, yeah, Chris, it's good to be here. And
Wow.
I go, oh, well, that just took the wind out of my sails right there. Yeah. I should have just shut off see, you were there in spirit. So anyways, and so Dave and I played off it. We did this podcast early in the week, and then we saw each other, I don't know, freaking 50 times throughout the week, and we were just joking with each other. So it was a lot of fun. Cool. Dave's a super cool guy. Got a great story. So let's just get right into it, huh, Chris?
You want to open it?
Let's do it.
Boom.
All right, I am here on remote with Lorenzo and Chris. Chris, where are you? Bueller? Bueller? He's not here. All right, I'm solo at Trail Hero. Surprise, surprise. But I am not alone because I've got surrounded by friends here, and we had somebody just stroll into camp here with a badass 4-steer moon buggy. Dave Wong is here with us. Dave, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Chris?
Oh, I'm Jason.
You were just talking about Chris. Who are you? It's only 11. It seems like I've been drinking.
What are you drinking? You had a Monster. Is there anything in that Monster?
Maybe.
It's perfect. That's the perfect icebreaker right there. Welcome to the podcast, Dave.
Thanks. Miss you, Chris.
See? That's what he wanted to say.
Sorry. I love you, Jason.
No worries. I have very thick skin. If you listen to the podcast, you know that. And so does Chris, because we make fun of him all the time.
Yeah.
He drives a Barbie Jeep and a Dodge, so he's got 2 strikes against him. He's out 4-wheeling today, which is good. Local trail, Slick Rock. You know where Slick Rock is? Yeah, up there by Lake Alpine.
Right by where I used to live.
Exactly. So let's talk about where you grew up and getting started and how this whole 4-wheeling thing happened. So you were in the Sonora area, right?
Yeah, we moved to Sonora when I was 8. My dad grew up in San Francisco and didn't want to raise us in the Bay Area, in the city.
Smart man.
He wasn't in the best part of San Francisco either, so that's part of it. But so yeah, when I was 8, we moved to Sonora. Spent most of my life there until a couple of years ago. We moved to St. George.
So just a couple of years ago, you moved here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2.5.
What I know one of the decisions was because of this wonderful place that we're sitting in right now, Sand Hollow. But what kind of drove you this area?
So my dad moved here first.
Oh, really?
The first time I was coming out here was for I can't remember if it was rock crawl, might even been Trail Hero.
Okay.
First Trail Breaker. The second year I came out and did Trail Breaker, and my wife was with me. And every time we go anywhere, we'd check out, what's the housing like, how is it expensive, and
sure.
This and that. Just fun to check out areas. And of course, with the off-roading here, I fell in love with it. And so I was a little more serious. Yeah. But when we got back to Sonora, my wife kept emailing me listings of houses and jobs. And I was like, oh, you're serious. So I was like, great. I'm in. And it took us a couple years to put it all together, but we were able to get here, and just, it's the place for me. I couldn't be happier.
Really? Okay, that's good. So let's back up a little bit. So living in Sonora, obviously, Rubicon, Fordyce, stuff like that. How'd you get into the four-wheeling scene?
Kind of by accident. Okay. I was actually building custom Harleys.
Oh, wow.
And we lived in Sonora where they get snow. It's up in the foothills. Yeah. And to get some more money so I could build myself a custom, I was riding just a regular Harley. I bought a 4Runner out of the valley, Modesto area, because you get them cheap, clean it up, sell it in the mountains for more because it's four-wheel drive. They're worth more. It was an 85 4Runner.
Oh, boy.
Didn't know how epic that was.
Right, exactly.
So the customer came in and said, those things do great on the Rubicon. And I was like, what's the Rubicon?
Yeah, tell me more.
And he's all, we go rock crawling. I'm like, what's that? I've always been into anything with wheels, but not rock crawling, apparently. So he goes, we're going this weekend to the Rim Trail, just above Sonora, and you should ride with me. So I did. I never built another Harley. I took that 85 4Runner and built it. It looked like an all-pro Marlin Crawler special. Did great. So never looked back. That was in the late 90s.
Wow.
So 25-ish years ago.
Yeah. I got started in 89, 90, so that's how I got the bug early on. But yeah, okay. So you hit the Rubicon, fell in love with it, and then so you had this 4Runner, and then what was the next rig? I mean, this progression, because you didn't go from 85 4Runner to what you're running now.
No, it was and that's one thing, I just can't leave anything alone. So there was three of us that would always go to the Rubicon like 6 times a year and just having a great time, but we're always trying to outdo each other. We're guys.
Yeah.
You gotta have more horsepower.
Sure.
Outdo each other. If someone can't make it, you're gonna try it because you want the bragging rights. So the 4Runner, I took it to Pismo one time, rolled it with my buddy's sister in there. Luckily, no one got hurt.
Oh boy.
The rig got hurt a little bit, and then I took it to. Well, before that, I was at the Marlin Roundup, rolled in the Little Sluice. And just decided, if I'm going to do this like I'm doing it, I better build something with a cage, that I can roll over and not care.
Sure.
So that was when we transitioned, pulled everything out of the 4Runner, built the rear steer 2-seat car. And it was an okay build. It was my first build. And we competed in Cow Rocks a bit and had a lot of fun. Tore it down to build a more competitive car. It was kind of big. And then we had our second kid, Reese. And we bought a foreclosed home to fix up. And I realized there's no money to build another car.
This four-wheeling stuff costs money, yeah.
So I took a hiatus for about 5 years. And then I wanted to do it one more time before I got too old and asked my wife. And she probably regrets it now, but she said yes. And so I went to Jesse and begged him to build me a car.
Wow.
And, that was the 2-seat car that I used to compete in. And
what year was that, roughly?
That was 2015.
Okay.
And started competing in We Rock in 16 after we finished it. So
that was your first. So your first competition was with a Jesse Haynes chassis.
First We Rock.
Yeah, first We Rock. But you had some
Cow Rocks.
Yeah, Cow Rocks
back in the day.
So Cow Rocks back in the day was really cool. I mean, it was when rock crawling was really just kind of hitting the map, right? I mean, and there was a lot of amateur new drivers and stuff. But I mean, the whole thing was kind of new. And then now you look back on who came out of that. I mean, that was the beginning class, right? The first grade, if you will, of rock crawling. And then you see some of the big boys that are out there now, like the Campbells and stuff like that went through that, right?
Yeah, it was when they first started Cow Rocks. It was definitely grassroots.
Mm-hmm. Grassroots.
Helmets were optional. Cages that will save your life are optional. It was crazy. Guys are pushing on rigs as they're moving and throwing rocks under tires that are spinning at 50 miles an hour trying to get rigs. It was nuts.
Yeah.
But it was really exciting for the fans.
Yeah.
So by the time I jumped in, they had quite a bit more safety. I had to wear a helmet.
Good. There you go. That's good. That's a good start.
So, but it was a lot of fun. Just everyone's there to have a good time. No one's making a bunch of money or having big sponsors. It was just everyone's there to have fun.
Yeah.
So that's what hooked me.
It's a somewhat of an organized, just fun weekend, right?
Yeah.
Out on the Rubicon, but let's have a little competition or whatever. So, okay. And then, obviously you were hooked because then you saw the Jesse Haynes chassis and you go, okay, I want one of those.
Yeah.
And I want to go big. And you did.
Yeah. I figure I'm running out of time. Got to do it now or never.
You act like you're 80 years old. You're not that old, Dave.
I'm 78. No.
Yeah, right. I bet you're younger than I am.
Well, I realize that you don't bounce any better as you get older.
No, you don't. You don't. And it takes a lot longer to heal.
Yeah.
I'm on my third week of nursing some broken ribs or bruised ribs or something.
Oh, yeah. CJ5 or something?
Yeah,
got you?
I dropped right out of the CJ5. I'll drop that video. These guys will make me drop it this week. My Ring camera caught it on video.
Oh. Well,
So
it's the same ribs I heard over there at Nationals.
Did you?
Same left side.
Yeah, that left side. That's brutal, man.
Yeah.
I've had broken stuff before, but the ribs are tough.
Mine aren't broken, but...
I don't know if mine are broken. I didn't have an x-ray, but they hurt.
Yeah, mine
can't-
still hurt.
I can kind of laugh now. Sneezing kills me still.
Oh, wow.
I can't sleep very well. Yeah, it's
I think you got it worse than I did.
yeah, it was. Oof. It's bad. This stuff just does not heal well. But we're all right. We're here. We're alive. Could be worse things, right?
Yeah, we're still here.
You know. So, all right. So you get this Jesse Haynes 2-seater.
Yep.
Okay, and you start competing. So what's it like going from Cal Rocks, where it's just kind of run what you brung and very, I don't know if I want to say archaic, but very, just garage stuff, to going to a professionally built chassis and a competition, right? A cleaner, or I shouldn't say cleaner, but more stringent competition environment.
It was, well, first of all, it was exciting.
Yeah.
Because I was doing something I love, but it's definitely more stressful too. They're making you do things that are next level, and you're trying to keep up with some of the best out there. It's, you got to learn quick, because if not, you're going to be spending a lot of money fixing cars and ribs or whatever.
Yeah, right?
So it was really the time of my life, going chasing it through Arizona Congress. I got to be at the last Congress event we Rock ever had. But I thought, I competed before. I'll jump right in. I'll be all right. There's so many things that I still had to learn
Like
that you
what?
don't even realize.
What was eye-opening to you?
Well, the game.
Uh-huh.
The game is how the points work, and being smart instead of just going big.
Yeah, let's explain that for a minute, because cone dodging, whatever you want to call it, but there is definitely a strategy involved. You're not just going up and going over these obstacles and trying to do it as fast as you can. I mean, obviously timing is part of it, but there's a lot of strategy involved of, are you going to take a backup? How are you going to position the car? So on and so forth. So talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, it's so the game of it, they'll have big bonuses. Obviously, you could score better if you do. But if you don't do it and then you back up, you start getting points which you don't want. Mm-hmm. So is it the smart move? It's not always the smart move. And then the time's always a factor. If you go for the big bonus, this has happened to another competitor. He went for the big bonus, couldn't make it, and to get to the regular gate, it was split. He had to go all the way across the course to get back to the regular gate so he could finish the course. End up timing out.
Yeah.
And of course, he thought he could make the bonus. That's why he did it. But
Sure.
It's just, you got to know your abilities, and all those things play a factor.
Right.
So it's not going big. It's more knowing what your game is and being smart about each course, running it cleanly so you don't score, or you don't get too many penalty
Well, yeah,
points.
so it's like golf. The low score wins here.
Right.
Yeah, you're not trying to accumulate points. You're trying to eliminate and not have any points. And there are some, like a bonus line is like negative, right? Like
Correct. Usually 10,
Yep.
sometimes 20.
Yeah, so that there's a huge risk reward there. If you do make the bonus gate, then that could help you out big time. And depending on like where you're at too, because it's usually more than a 1-day competition, right?
Generally 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days, and you have several courses throughout, those 2 days. So, after day one, you look at where you're ranked, and if you're, on that bubble or whatever, and you're like, okay, I gotta hit some bonus lines to have a chance at winning this thing, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
all this stuff is going through your mind. And then you got a spotter as well.
Yep.
Right. So, have you had the same spotter, different spotters over the years? How's your spotter coming?
I've had a handful of different spotters. Usually, in the beginning, it was just friends that were available that weekend.
Yeah, come on out.
That worked pretty good at Cow Rocks.
Okay.
But at this level, We Rock level, you need a spotter that you can work with consistently. It's that tight of a competition where you really need to work well as a team.
Right.
And so last year I was able to pick up Nate Reed. They call him Chicken Wing. And he loves the sport as much as I do, if not more. And he's committed to working with me. So we've been going at it for a year and a half now.
Okay.
And he's just, as a team, we keep getting better. And I knew that needs to be part of the equation if we want to be on top.
Sure. And it's key in that he has to understand what your car can do and can't do, and what you can do, can't do, right? I mean, it's just like, to be able to spot you and know where to put your tires, and can that car make that tight of a turn or whatever. So,
yeah.
I got to imagine there's a lot of practice time, playing around and just so you guys both learn how each other operates, right?
Yeah. He needs to know as much as I do, if not more, because
Right.
he's the eyes, and knowing what the car is capable of. So when we get in a bad position, he knows, all right, we need to do this and fix it. But he also needs to know, we both need to know how to communicate and what we mean when we say something.
Yeah.
And he also needs to have thick skin, because there's times where I get frustrated and I'm going to yell at you.
Sure.
And it's just competition.
And well, you're in the heat of the moment, and yeah.
So it's, I laugh at that part because some people can't take it, and I totally understand.
Yeah.
No one likes to be yelled at.
Right.
But Chicken Wing's very mellow like me, and he knows it's just me venting as I'm on course because I'm frustrated.
There you go.
And then when we get off course,
You guys hug it out.
we're good. Yep.
Okay. So how did Nate get the nickname Chicken Wing? We got to find that out.
Great question. That was before he was spotting for me. When he first came to the sport, he was spotting for Kevin. I can't remember his last name. And they had Cocked and Locked. It was an old Campbell buggy.
Okay.
And Kevin was buying that buggy, and his buddies, Jake and Chicken Wing, they both said, if you buy that buggy, you got to compete.
Okay.
They forced him into it.
Okay.
So Chicken Wing was spotting for him. And every time, this is a podcast, so you won't be able to see it, but when he's telling them to come forward, he'd be waving his arms and his elbows. He's big, long, lanky guy. His elbows would be working, and he'd
out
be like,
there.
come
Okay.
on, come on, come on. And he looked like he was doing the chicken dance.
That's great.
So, yeah, he had that before he came to me, that name. But
That's awesome.
yeah, so everyone lovingly calls him Chicken Wing.
Chicken Wing. That's awesome. Okay, so you've been working with him for roughly a year and a half, and it seems like you're on the podium there most of the time, right? I mean, you guys got a good thing working there.
We do, and he comes all the way down from Washington to these events. He flies in, and him and Chris Plabano that spots for Jesse, they usually will try and coordinate flying together, and then they get a rental car and ride out.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's even though we're at the highest level of this rock crawling, we're all friends out there, which is really cool. It's not cutthroat, because.
So that's what I was kind of thinking when you said they ride together, Jesse's spotter, your spotter. So it's like, I wonder what kind of conversations are going on that car ride. Like, are they trying to sabotage each other? Like, oh, dude, the A4 course, you want to stay right. You definitely need to stay right. And left's the line, but they're telling you to stay right. So are they getting in each other's heads, I wonder? Or if they genuinely are helping each other out, like, oh, no, this is what we learned last time with this car. I wonder how that, do you know any of that?
The insight I have, I'd have to say they don't sabotage each other. And they will help each other, but I have a feeling there's things that are not said. There's some secrets kept.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. That's good. So let's go back to the 2-seater car. How long did you run that in We Rocks competition?
Man, I used probably 4 years.
Okay,
it was a good car. It was a one of a kind Jesse built. It's kind of based off of Pokey.
Oh.
But Pokey wasn't a rear steer car, so we made some adjustments to the back half to make it rear steer. And Pokey was originally an Ultra 4 car also, so
yeah,
we were able to shave some stuff off the front because it doesn't need a bumper to run into people.
Right.
But it was a good car. It definitely worked a little weird. The whole key to that car, it took me a little while to figure out, was the front winch. That front winch would stabilize that car. It didn't matter. The back was all crazy and ready to roll. You pull the front winch and the whole car would calm down.
You talking about for a suck down?
For a suck down, yeah.
Okay.
So, which normally you'd think if it's all crazy in the back, pull the rear winch.
Yeah.
Well, it would just lift the tire worse and make it all worse.
Oh, wow.
The geometry of that front 3-link and the geometry of the 4-link in the rear was it was wild. But it was, once you figured out that car and you knew how to work it, it was an amazing car.
Wow.
So, and that car traveled to Japan too for Trail Hero over there.
I was going to say you competed in that. You're jumping ahead here, but that's good.
Oh.
No, this is all good stuff. Like I say, there's no format here. So yeah, you haven't just competed here. You went to Japan with Rich Klein and Cody Wagner, right? And,
yeah, Cody.
The whole crew there. That sounded like a heck of a trip.
It was an amazing trip. It was kind of funny when Neizumi, Greg from Fab Fours had to back out. He had some stuff going on in his life. He was supposed to go. So Neizumi called me in a panic. He said he'd already talked to Jesse and a few guys and no one can come over and he needs people because the government gave him the land to do this event.
Wow. But
it had to be an event for the people. So he had committed to, hey, we're having some Americans coming over. So he didn't want to disappoint the government over there. So he called me and he's like, hey, I really need somebody. Can you come over? And I, being an American and not being very well liked in a lot of parts of the world, right. I don't really care to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know. And I called my wife and said, hey, Neizumi said, if I go to Japan, he'll help me out on the transport of the car. Because actually Greg was going to just go ahead and pay his spot for the car to be shipped. So it didn't cost me anything to ship my car, which was super lucky.
Wow.
And my wife's like, well, you got to go. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't like going I don't even like going to Stockton. So,
well, I can't blame you there. I don't like going to Stockton either.
I don't think I'm very well liked in parts of that town, and they don't even know me. So anyways, then I called Cody because I knew he was going.
Right.
And asked him, what do you think of this whole trip thing? He's all, when are you going to go rock crawl in Japan? When are you going to get that chance?
Right.
So it started setting in, and finally and this was all within like an hour. I was, calling everyone to see what. So I said yes, and then it was one of the best trips of my life, and I'm sure my wife's too. It was amazing. The people were so good over there.
Yeah, rolled out the red carpet for you guys, and just you got to compete. I mean, just the logistics of getting your car over there and yourselves over there. I mean, international travel is tough.
It is, and it was nice to be with a group.
Yeah.
Rich kind of took care of us as far as like letting us know where we have to be.
Sure.
And, hey, we got to hurry up and go here.
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about the logistics as much. And then Neizumi was our host, so he'd drive us around, and none of us spoke the language.
Right.
But Neizumi, like if we said, hey, we want to go eat sushi, he'd be like, okay, and he'd find a place. And
yeah.
So the language barrier was non-existent then.
Perfect.
Which made the trip that much better.
And what was the wheeling like there?
It was like nothing like what we're used to on the Rubicon or in the West.
Uh-huh.
it was what I imagined the Northwest would be like, or maybe back east. It's an island, so it's damp all the time.
Okay, so wet.
And there's the rocks aren't very big, but they're jagged, granite style rocks, and moss everywhere.
Oh, moss.
So it's a lot of momentum, which I'm not used to. I'm very technical and predicting each inch of where my tire's going. Well, there you just have to hit it with the momentum, bounce around and bounce off something and hopefully make it. And I've never put so many gashes in tires. It was, with it being wet and sharp rocks.
Yeah.
I was down to the cords in a few different spots.
Ooh,
Luckily, it never went all the way through.
Okay.
When I got back, though, they were bad enough I sold them and just showed them someone that, hey, they're in bad shape, but if you want them.
Sure. You want some old used Japanese stickies.
Yeah. And the competition over there, like the other competitors, the Japanese rigs are really interesting too because they're so little. A lot of 3-cylinder, I'm assuming Samurai. They call them something else over there. Jiminy's.
Oh, the Jimmys. Yeah. Jiminy's, yeah.
Yeah. So their rigs are super small. Probably most Americans wouldn't fit in them. I would love to drive one. Little turbos on them, and one of them looked like a little miniature rock bouncer. Like you would make a kid's rock bouncer?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And what size tires are they running and stuff? Are they?
A lot of 35s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just small.
Everything's just smaller.
Yeah.
And they're 4-steer.
4-steer. And there was a couple bigger cars. Masa and Neizumi had a couple bigger cars over there because they've competed in America.
Yeah, they've been to America and they saw what we got going on.
Yeah. Okay. And I know Neizumi built another new rear steer car.
Okay.
That's very American style, JHF stuff.
Okay.
So, and it's supposed to be over here pretty soon. He's shipping it over.
Well, isn't he competing this week?
I do not know.
Oh, okay.
I should know that.
You should know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shame on me.
Oh, that's all right. Got to know your competition, Dave.
Yeah. Well, I consider him a friend too. Like, what kind of friend am I?
Oh, man. It's all good.
So, but yeah, the other thing I'd like to say about Japan was the culture is just so honest and the people are so nice. There's vending machines everywhere. I don't know how many people have been over there, but you go through a neighborhood and there's vending machines on the corners.
Really?
For waters, sodas, and you can also get beer or a whiskey soda in a can out of them. You put money in, it spits it out. There's no ID or anything, and you have to be 20 to drink over there.
Oh, wow.
So I asked Neizumi, I'm like, hey, on Friday night, do those like sell out? Because I know the kids here, they're begging someone to buy them beer. They would just be able to go over to a vending machine. And he's like, no, why? Like, why would that happen?
Yeah.
But that's the culture.
Yeah.
And it took me a while for it to set in.
Sure.
And then about a half a dozen people at the event came up to me and thanked me for coming to Japan.
Wow.
And I live near Yosemite, and people would get lost and end up in my town, and then they're from other countries or whatever, and they show me on a map, I'm trying to go to Yosemite. And I would tell them how to get there.
Sure.
I'd help them out, but I never thanked anyone for coming to America.
Right.
So it was just kind of, they're so gracious over there.
That's cool.
So
what a great experience, man. Yeah, I've heard stories from Cody and Rich and stuff, and it's just like, man, that just sounded like such a cool trip.
It was fun. I would do it again.
Yeah, good. There you go. See? Spreading your wings a little bit. Get Nate spreading his chicken wing. So you competed in this 4-steer or 2-seat. It was a 4-steer buggy, Haynes buggy, right? For 4 years. And then what car did you go to? I'm going through the lineage here of your rock buggies.
That 2-seater, when we built it, it was something I wanted to be able to go wheel with my wife and still compete in the unlimited class against
Smart
Jesse Haynes and all the top guys. But the fact of the matter is, it's really hard to compete against them in a 2-seat car.
Okay.
And actually, not that I'm proud of this, but it was amazing that for over a year I got 4th place at every event. And you couldn't do that if you tried, to get 4th place at every event. It was unreal. And
it just worked out that way.
And I could laugh at the irony, but at the same time, inside I was like, this is BS.
Yeah.
So, and that's when I started thinking I need to just build a car that's meant for it, a moon buggy. And so I went back to Jesse and said, hey, will you build me one? And he doesn't like building complete cars. He'd rather just build parts.
Yeah.
It takes up a lot of time to build a whole car.
Sure.
So, and he's such a good friend to me that he went ahead and said you'd do it. And so he sold Craig Allen, which is the auto trader of rock crawlers.
Right.
He bought my car, and we built the moon buggy with all the latest stuff at the time that Jesse had, and, little tricks. And
so this is 1920-ish?
this is
'Cause if you
1920. I don't know. How old am I?
Yeah, no. So I'm thinking.
Oh, you're talking 19 or
2020.
19 or 20. I got it.
2019 or 20. Wow.
I don't know if Ford was even making anything in 1920.
No, they were. Yeah. So
it was.
'cause I was doing you said you had it for 4 years.
Yeah,
you started
2020.
Competing in 14. So I was adding. Okay, here we go. Okay.
You're good.
I'm all right. Lorenzo's giving me a funny look right now too. Sorry, Lorenzo.
So yeah, I think it was around 2020. My memory's not the best, so we'll just wing it.
Okay, good. I love it.
But yeah, so built that car. And at the time, there was other moon buggies out there. Everyone was running the 1.4 Ecotechs. Mm-hmm. Super small, light, package real easy. But I noticed on some of the big climbs at Nationals or Cedar City, the wall, they just didn't have the power to get up. And Jesse knew it too. Mm-hmm. And he started doing superchargers to try and get some more power out of those. But on mine, he hadn't figured out the supercharger thing. And he'd been working on it for a year, and I'm not an engine mechanic. Uh-huh. I'm not a tuner. I didn't want to have to try and figure all that out.
Sure.
So I just told Jesse, let's put a bigger motor in it. So we went with a 2-liter.
Okay.
And from the factory, it came with 275 horse, which is substantially more than the 1.4's ever had. And
weight of the car?
This is my favorite question when we're at events. People ask how much it weighs because you look at it and it doesn't look like much.
Yeah, but there's some solid stuff there.
It's everything that's in it's substantial.
Yeah. All right, so the car's 2,800 pounds, you said?
Yep, with no weight in the tires.
Okay, with no weight in the tires. And you said you're roughly 275 horsepower?
Yeah, we put a couple cams in it and tuned it. So I'm probably close to 3. I've never dynoed it, but the motor came out of a 2012 Buick Regal GS, so
really?
The sport model.
Okay.
Which my last car had a Buick V6 in it, which I think is super ironic because I'm probably one of the older guys in the sport, and I'm driving a Buick.
I got a Buick. You want to tell your age because you keep saying that you're alluding how old you are.
I'm 54 now.
54, see? I'm 50. So you're not too much older than me.
The other thing about Buicks is it's usually some old guy or lady that had it, so they didn't drive it much. And you can find a used Buick motor with low miles.
Sure. Yeah,
hopefully it didn't get crashed in the front. Just because half the time I bet you that's what happens to those.
Sure. Just saying.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So, but is that your current car now? Right now, which you have,
Buick,
right?
Yeah, Buick Regal GS motor, 2-liter.
Okay. So this is the current car that we're talking about. That's roughly 2,800 pounds with the Buick 275 horse turbo. Yeah. So you got it. So talk about the car. You got portals. You got Jesse's portals on there.
Yeah, Jesse's portals. And my old car had Jesse's portals too. My old car had the second running set in the United States of Jesse's portals. So being a friend with him, it was fun to be able to be part of the R&D of them. And
so you had some input, huh?
It was more. The input was my driving.
Yeah, but
he always made fun of me because he says I'm a great R&D guy because I was bending and braking and rolling and
right,
finding all the weak spots. So it's been fun. And I'm not an engineer. I'm just the tester.
Right.
So I'm not trying to take credit for the axles, but he makes some amazing stuff. But this one's got the Jesse Haynes portals, Toyota diffs.
Okay.
So back to my roots.
Yeah, there you go.
I can't believe Toyota diffs hold up to 42s.
And but they're not stock Toyota diffs, right? I mean, they're built
stock from trail gear.
They're just trail gear.
Yeah, they
Toyota.
came loaded, and but the the key here is those portals have a 2-to-1 reduction, basically.
So it's taking the strain off of that ring and pinion.
Yep, makes them live.
So what's your ring and pinion ratio?
That's a secret.
Okay, secret. Got it.
That's what we'll say.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
So, and you know who? I don't really like keeping secrets, but Caleb Redden.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I asked him, and we're both competitors and stuff, and he's like, "I don't tell people." I'm like, "Okay." So,
wow. Gotta have it. Hey,
I'm like Caleb. I don't tell people.
There you go. Gotta have your secrets, man. Little secret sauce here and there is okay.
So, it's got Toyota drivelines too, which is a key on these. The Toyota driveline has more angle it'll work at than some guys will try and run more traditional, like, what is it, 1310s?
1310s, just, you're limited a little bit on the flex there, or the movement of the shaft, right?
Yeah.
The bigger U-joint.
So, which is also fun. I like having some Toyota stuff still, since that's what got me into it.
Okay.
And then it's got a Dana 300 in it. Nice. And it's a 904 out of a 2000 Jeep Wrangler transmission.
Really?
It's really a mishmash of stuff.
Yeah.
But it all just blends perfectly.
Yeah.
Jesse makes the adapters to adapt the Ecotex to the 904.
Okay.
And then, of course, the 904 will mate right up to a 300 just because they're both Jeep products. It just was a lucky thing. So the pattern's the same as a Dana 300.
Yep.
And I do run a 4-to-1 in the transfer case.
Okay.
So
I'm afraid to ask you any gear ratios anymore now. No, that's good. So 4-to-1 in the transfer case. And then you got cutting brakes.
Cutting brakes.
So how do your cutting brakes work? Is it just front and rear, or you got, how does it set up?
So I got, of course, the two levers.
Yeah.
They're push-pull. So
push-pull.
If I push them, it's braking one of the fronts. If I pull them, it's braking one of the rears. So I can brake each tire individually.
There you go.
So and I run air lockers, so you can unlock the air locker.
Okay.
And brake one tire, make the other one drive.
That's how you can pivot, do your front digs, whatever. Yep.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, like the learning curve, learning all the tricks of air lockers, cutting brakes, all that stuff, and winches, using it to maneuver the vehicle. Guys that are newer to the sport, like Skip Scott, it's neat to see more people coming in, and I'll help them a lot.
Uh-huh.
But there's a lot of times where I'm just telling them, use your tools. There's so many tools. You have air lockers, you have brakes. Use your tools. That's how you're going to get through that course.
And it's just hours of seat time, I got to imagine, just trying stuff out, right? I mean, you go out and just like, okay, let me see if I can make the car do this and that. I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on in these cars. So you got switches for your front and rear air locker.
Yep.
You got your hand cutting brakes that forward or pushing or pulling on those. Transmission, you're pretty much keeping in one gear, or I mean, you're not shifting a whole lot, right?
First and reverse,
most of the time. Okay.
If you're shooting a wall, you might grab second or third for some momentum.
Sure.
Of course, you got the rear steer you got to control.
Yep, you got rear steer. You got your steering wheel, which is there, and of course, gas and brake. So the rear steer, is it a toggle switch on yours, or you've got a little joystick?
A joystick.
Okay.
It's a manual
hydraulic
valve. The electric ones, for what we do, is so technical, they're a little twitchy.
Okay.
Because they're on off. Whereas if I pull my lever just a little bit, I can make it move really slow for right next to a cone or a cliff.
So you get way more technical and precise, I should say.
Yeah.
Of getting those rear tires turned. And your steering degree, are you pushing 50 degrees there?
No, I still have the old 45.
Okay, all right.
50 came out after we built this car.
Okay.
And then I can't really upgrade to 50 easily because the tires get into the links already and the shocks. It's such a tight package. So I'd have to do a lot to make it 50. And for now, I don't know that it's going to be in the budget.
Is it gonna, and what's it going to get you? You know, has there been times where you're like, oh, if I had 5 extra degrees of steering, I would have made that obstacle? I mean, is that...
That does happen, but not a whole lot.
Right.
And you can do other stuff. Yeah, not yet.
Unless there's a sponsor.
Plus my wife's here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Can't tell her all the secrets.
Good answer. Yeah, so that's cool. So this is your third competition car then? Is that right?
Yeah.
Buggy.
The first one was a trail car that we made a competition car.
Okay.
So, yeah. Third one I've had.
So that's sweet. And I love how many gallons that little fuel cell on the back, because obviously you guys aren't doing a long day of trail wheeling per se, but
it's almost 4 gallons.
And how long, like playing at Sand Hollow out here on a day with your buddies, how long can you go?
I can usually do 2 trails as long as they're not way out there like the Maze or Plan B.
Okay.
Which this week's is Plan BFG.
Yeah.
I ran that last year, helped guide a trail, and Armando from Artec brought extra fuel for me so I could make it back.
I was going to say, you just have one of your buddies like, hey, bring a couple gallons for me or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm a liability on the trail, really. I don't have a self-recovery winch. Like, if I get in trouble, you guys have to figure out how to save me.
Yeah.
But I don't get in a whole lot of trouble usually.
Well, no. You've and you've definitely pushed that car to its limits, man. We've seen some killer video on IG. Doing some rodeo stuff, man. Getting a little Western.
I'm pretty acrobatic sometimes. Not more than I'd like, but I guess it's spectacular one way or another, right?
So when you, and so I want to get into this because I've been wheeling for 30 years, rec wheeling, never competition. I could see myself in the future maybe working down this road if I can sell a few things and afford one of these Jesse Haynes chassis, but last year, I walked Trail Breaker before, the event, before rain and the event happened. But I'm looking at some of those obstacles, the walls and the canyons, the crevices stuff, and just like, how would I approach this? And I'm like sitting there racking my brain with my buddies that have a ton of four-wheeling experience too, going, I don't know. I mean, we don't drive four-steer buggy, so obviously you guys look at it a different way and know that you can kick the ass end over or something. But I mean, this stuff looked impossible to us as a seasoned four-wheeler, and you guys defy gravity somehow. There's a switch in there that turns off gravity, I'm guaranteed. I've
That's a secret, too.
Oh, that's a secret. Okay. No, so when you're progressing through the sport, though, I'd like to hear your thought process of how and how your moon buggies have evolved, to get you to conquer some of this ridiculous terrain.
It's there's a lot of personalities in this sport that just naturally push, and they make us all better.
Yeah.
I am definitely not the craziest one out there, but I don't like to not make it.
Yeah.
But there's a handful of guys that are out here pushing, like Alan Finnis, John Mad Cow Hemble, Jeff Kleiben, which flies under the radar because he doesn't like to compete.
Yeah.
But he's an amazing driver. I went out with him yesterday, and he does stuff, and I'm like, you're nuts, dude. You might die.
You might die. You might die. And this is coming from Dave Wong, by the way. Okay.
So,
if Dave Wong says you might die on that line, I would take his advice.
It's, and Alan found out the hard way. He tried to follow Jeff's line and didn't make it. Ended up rolling down and did a lot of damage to his car. Oof. He got his ribs, too.
Yeah? I can sympathize.
He won't tell me that because he was a dirt biker, and he's just tough. So he just told me he's a little sore. Yeah. But someone else said, I'm pretty sure he has broken ribs.
Oh, jeez.
But it's these guys, and then the problem is I have a capable car, so I got to try it too.
Right.
And so when they're doing it, I'm kind of half mad at them because I don't want to die.
Damn it. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Oh, jeez.
So, but they're great, and they make us all better.
Sure. You push each other, and yeah.
And you learn a lot of little tricks of your car. Like I could jump in your car.
Yeah.
We could go wheel it. And you know things about that car that it does or doesn't do.
Sure.
That make it very capable. It's all stuff you need to learn about your car.
Yep. Time.
Yeah. So Jeff's very good at carrying a rear tire and balancing his rig up these things.
Okay.
He loves, I don't know why, he loves carrying his tire. He pulls the rear winch in so he can carry it.
Wow.
But that's the geometry of his car, and he makes it work.
Well, like you said, with your front suck-down winch, and it made your other car work better. So,
yeah.
Learning those idiosyncrasies and how things, perform out there.
Yep.
And, after a few wrong moves or whatever, you go, wait a minute, this works now. Okay, we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, it's all a learning curve. You can give someone the best car out there, and you can argue who has the best car out there.
Sure.
But you put someone that doesn't drive that car regularly, it's not going to look that good.
Sure.
So the good drivers, they know their car well. That's why they're good.
So you've been competing now for how many years at this professional level?
Well, so we rock level since 16.
Okay.
And then I did a short stint in Cow Rocks, I think it was 3 or 4 years, and that was like 2006 to 10, somewhere in there. I'd have to go back and look, but it might have been 4 years back then in Cow Rocks. So.
Right. Okay. And you've seen the sport progress so much in just those, in the last 4 years, I would say, too. I mean, things have changed so much, right?
Yeah, and it's just guys being guys. We always push.
Yeah.
We throw more money at stuff and make them faster or better or whatever it is. You look at any motorsport.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we've all done it to ourselves. They had to slow down dragsters because they're going too fast. Slow down NASCAR because they're going too fast. That's because we're guys. More horsepower is better, right?
We spend a lot of money to go slow in this sport, which is like opposite of any other motorsport.
So, in the same thing in this sport, we're just trying to figure out how to make it better. Sure. Cliben's doing it. Jesse's doing it. Jesse changed the sport with the portals.
Sure.
And I remember when he was designing them, there's quite a few people that said it'll never work. The Hummer portals aren't strong enough. But he's obviously got them to work.
Yeah, oh, no doubt, and that's great. I mean, it's like you got to go out there and try it, and may work, may not. And then you start improving on that kind of the concept worked, and then it's like, okay, look where we're at now with portals, and now everybody wants portals.
Yeah, the portals, low center of gravity. The other thing that this sport has gone through it was pretty country sport. So when we were doing 4 links and coilovers and stuff, a lot of us didn't know what we were doing. Uh-huh. So like the geometry was messed up, and roll center or anti-squat, a lot of them were a mess. Okay. And then over time, guys either figured it out or more people got in the sport that figured out how it needs to work. Right. With the anti-squat and stuff like that. So that's another reason these cars have come so far through the last 20-something years.
Yeah. And then what's kind of the latest thing is the reverser transfer case or the reverser box?
Yeah, the reverser box. It hit the market, I don't know, about just before I built this car. Uh-huh. We kept it a secret for a while, but it's kind of secrets out on those, I guess. Yeah. So, and the funny thing is that comes from RC World.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So, you make the front drive line turn the opposite direction of the rear, and you get rid of that torque roll. I guess you don't get rid of it. You get rid of a lot of it.
Sure.
So, if you're on a side hill and you're about ready to roll, torque roll could be all it takes to roll you. So, now it helps keep the car flat. It's a cool little trick. Yeah. And Jesse figured out how to make them. And he uses portal gears, the upper gears in that box. Okay. Yeah, just the innovation's awesome.
Yeah. So. And it is, you mentioned the RC world, and it is interesting how much it's like you got, what's his name, the West Desert Wheeler or whatever? Yeah, that's out here doing all the cool RC car stuff, rock crawling on a crazy level in an RC car. But I've talked to a lot of people that rock crawl and do the RC stuff, and you learn from both aspects of it that help each one of those entities. And yeah, then the reverser box coming out. I mean, how great is that? So out of an RC car, but it is just like a little mini version. It's the version that I might be able to afford. Maybe that's how I'm going to get my 4-steer buggy. It'll be an RC 4-steer buggy. But cool. Let's talk about Club 42. How did that name come about? The number, the whole thing. There's got to be a good story behind that.
It's a fun story for me. It's just back to the Rubicon, back to the 4Runner. Of course, I was running 35s, and then I think I might have went to like a 38 SX back then. Okay. Well, it was the three amigos. We would go out. The guys that got me into the sport, Mark Van and Darren Holman, they seemed to have the time to go to the Rubicon whenever we could. So it would be the three of us taking off, going up there. They both had CJ5s, and Darren had 44-inch boggers on his CJ5 with Dynatrac 60s. And
Okay.
so whatever we did, Darren would be like, yeah, but I have bigger tires. And actually, I guess it was about the time I built my first buggy out of that Toyota. I put 42-inch SXs on there.
Okay.
And Darren's still bragging about, well, my tires are bigger or whatever. So I had a business back then, Dave's Off-Road Outlet. And so I had an art guy that did our logos and everything. So I went to him, really talented guy, and said, hey, can we do like a logo for Club 42 or something like that? And 42-inch tire club.
Sure.
And he came up with this cool little logo. It's still, the number is still the same style. Back then, flames were real big, so I had flames behind it. And I started putting on all the gear from our shop. It was a little 42 logo. It was a Club 42 for 42-inch tire guys.
That's cool.
So anytime Darren started bragging, I go, yeah, but you're not in the club. And I just walk off. So it was just so we could talk trash.
Yeah, sure.
And which is, Rubicon was all about that back then, you know. Even if you broke, someone's going to come over and talk trash about your build first, and then they would help you.
Yeah. No, it still is that way. It's a fun camaraderie of our sport here, you know.
Yeah, it's and then when I started competing, I'm like, might as well use 42.
I like it. The 42 club. Okay,
that's a lot of history with me.
Yeah, no,
But
that's
other than that, it doesn't mean anything.
No, it's good. And the orange color.
I've always liked orange.
Okay,
I'm sure some people think I like it because Jesse. But I have so at first I tried the lime green and it didn't really stick, but then I found the orange, and I had orange tools and Snap-on toolbox back in the day.
Uh-huh.
I still have that toolbox. I kind of have to keep it as proof that I liked orange before I met Jesse.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. Everyone just has their color.
It is. No, it's great. And then when did you get hooked up with Aerolids?
Aerolids. So, a couple years ago, Aerolids reached out to Rich Klein and said, hey, I'd like to sponsor a driver. Who do you think would be good? Because he'd seen the sport, but only from a distance.
Okay.
And Gabe, the owner of Aerolids, he said, and if they like orange, that'd be good because it's the color I use on all the Jeeps.
Perfect.
And the logos.
I got just your guy.
I'm sure a light bulb went off in Rich's head, and like, I know an orange guy. And it wasn't Jesse because Jesse's already got, you know, he's plenty of sponsors, and he's his own title sponsor, you know.
Sure.
So I get a message from Rich saying he had someone, give him a call. So talk to him, and one thing I learned about the sport before the moon buggy was I don't like working with companies that will give me stuff or give me a discount unless I like them. At first, when I was coming back to the sport, I didn't have a lot of money to do it. So I was like, anyone that wants to help, great, you know, jump on board and I'll work with you. And then I found out that it's kind of a downer when you're working with them because you don't like working with them, you know, and it's personal preference, personalities.
Sure.
Some of it's just company policies sucked. So Gabe and I, we talked, for probably a month on and off, and he's a talker like me. So we'd have some pretty long conversations, miss some dinners and stuff, just talking on the phone in my office. And, but I was really trying to feel him out on if I'm going to like working with him. And he's a pretty strong personality. And so at first I was a little concerned that like he's going to try and just take over.
Okay. But
he's not. He's a strong personality that likes to have a lot of fun. And he's an amazing guy, really. Now time has gone on, and he's someone I like to hang out with. So it's really worked out well. Cool. He gives us a lot of support. He's got a really cool product it's a little bit nichey. It's more of a Jeep product it's a cover for your light bar. And if anyone's ever had a light bar on the windshield of anything, Can-Am, Jeeps, obviously.
Sure.
They whistle like crazy. Super annoying.
Going on the highway.
So he's got a cover that will go over and makes it aerodynamic. So it doesn't whistle anymore. Shaped kind of like an airplane wing.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he created it so you can put an insert in it and show off your logo or whatever you want.
Sure.
I saw recently a barber put in a barber pole one.
Oh, that's cool.
They're red, white, and blue stripes that are at an angle all the way across his light bar. You know, so it can be real fun that way too. So
very cool. Let's talk about a highlight, some moment that sticks out in your career rock crawling, whether it be a particular event or a specific line at an event or obstacle. What kind of just jumps out at you of like one of those oh shit moments, or a super exciting moment that you made an obstacle, you were the first one to make it, or whatever? What jumps out at you there?
Man, we'll have to go back to Cow Rocks days. I mean, there's so many things that I just love the sport. So there's so many things that jump out at me. But the first time I was really doing something that I thought was crazy was at Donner Ski Ranch.
You've
probably been there.
I've seen you at Donner.
Man, I miss that place. It's
Do you think we'll ever get back there?
You know, people talk to me about it, and they don't realize why it's not there. They thought it was COVID, and they're like, well, why aren't we back? And it was COVID kind of pushed it out,
right?
For sure, because they couldn't do events. But the other problem is the expense. It got more expensive for the promoter, so it makes less sense for them. And I don't think Donner really cares too much whether we're there or not.
No.
It's like, this is the price.
Yep.
And then the permits too.
Yep.
So that's going to be the tough hurdle. But it's such an epic place to have an event, especially in the middle of summer. It's always cooler there.
Yep.
The terrain's awesome, and they have a ton of it. There's you could move that event around on that hill and have different terrain every year.
Yeah. It's spectacular.
But this was at Cow Rocks, and there's a drop that they made you come off of, and it was probably, I don't know, it may have been 12 feet vertical, and then it sloped down below that. Mm-hmm. And it was a bonus line, so I didn't have to do it. But I decided, this was my old car, front engine car, so I decided I'm going to back off it. And before that, you know, the nerves are hitting and everything, and I go over to my wife, and I said, hey, this is going to be spectacular. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad.
But it's going to be spectacular.
Spectacular.
Get the camera ready.
So I'm coming off of there backwards, and it drops down and kind of stands up on the rear wheels, and I have to gas it a little bit, and we land it, and it was awesome. And then at the awards, shoot, I can't remember his name right now. My memory's terrible. If anyone knows me, they know what I'm talking about. I'll get to meet you again next time, Chris.
Perfect. That's awesome, Jesse.
So, my memory's so bad. And being in this sport, there's a lot of people that know you that you've met, mm-hmm. but you only met them once, and I'm like, I cannot remember who you are. So, but
I'm going to wear a name tag around Dave.
I do remember he had, and funny thing, I'll remember cars better than people, which is kind of rude, but he had a Ranger.
Okay.
And he dropped that before me. And at the awards, he came up to me and he's like, I'm kind of mad at you. And I'm like, what did I do?
Sorry.
And he's like, I wanted to be the only one that dropped that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
So it was a big step in what I was willing to do.
Sure.
Definitely a lot of nerves and anxiety. And then to pull it off was great. And then that translates to today. I mean, we're doing obviously a lot crazier stuff. It's still get the anxiety and nerves, but you just do it, you know, you deal with that and you drop it or whatever and you just go. But it's just part of the sport.
Sure. And I mean, it's crazy. And you look at, you look at it from a different perspective than people that don't rock crawl or never driven a vehicle, right? So some of those people that go out to these competitions and never been behind a wheel are like, this is impossible, you know? But then us as, you know, recreation wheelers are like, okay, I can kind of see how that would work if you had a badass, you know, moon buggy. And then you driving a badass moon buggy goes, okay, yeah, I think I see a line. Let's try it. So it's just, but I'm glad to hear that you have anxiety and you still get a little nervous and stuff because it's freaking insane what you guys are putting these cars through. But in the back of your mind, you got to be reassuring yourself. You're going, okay, this is what this is built for. I know if I can stay on this line, I can make it up or whatever, right? And your spotter, obviously a part psychiatrist too, I would imagine that's keeping you calm and going, okay, we got this. Let's, grab second gear and pin it or whatever. But yeah, that dynamic is very cool.
The spotter, he is also like a co-driver. If you ever race desert or anything, you have a co-driver. Part of his job is just like the co-driver, keeping the driver calm and aware. And just I've been lucky enough to go and co-drive at KOH a couple times in Baja and Vegas to Reno, and a lot of times you're just trying to keep the driver calm down so you don't wreck the car.
Is it that way in rock crawling? We need some tips because James over here, Samurai James, is going to be driving that Black Betty right there.
Yeah.
And I'm spotting him in the amateur competition this week, Thursday.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, we'll take any pointers you got.
Well, who knows? Maybe I'll be your mentor.
Oh, okay.
I'm mentoring at that event.
Do we draw straws or do we get to pick?
I don't know how it works. You have to talk to Rich. I like a lot of things with Rich. It's like, whatever. This is happening, but I don't know the details yet.
Okay, all right. Yeah, cash. We can slip you some cash, a little whiskey, something.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna.
Maybe
you
should just request me.
Okay.
Tell Rich.
All right, I will.
Unless you don't want me, it's all right. I don't care.
Hey.
You won't hurt my feelings.
No. As long as you remember my name, I don't care.
Yeah.
He's all, go, Chris. You got this, Chris.
I'll be posting next week. I hung out with Chris all week.
Chris from Wheeling Wine was so freaking cool. I didn't think Chris was there. No, Chris was there, man. I hung out with him. Oh, Lorenzo's shaking his head now. Oh, this is good. I love this stuff. So, I got to mention, and we got to talk about the KOH shootout this past year.
Oh, yeah.
You came out on top, literally came out on top. So talk about that event and what that's like, because that's a whole different type of competition than what you're what you're used to doing.
Yeah, totally different. I've done it a couple other years. This year, obviously, I won it, which was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't been able to win it yet. And a little bit of the backstory most people will never know is going into the event, I tried to sign up online, and I can't remember, this is going to be weird, I can't remember the guy's name that runs it.
I think his name was
Chris. Man, so many people are going to be mad at me.
Is it Dave Cole?
But I love you guys. No. No, Dave doesn't run it. But it was the guy that runs a lot of the Rock Bouncer stuff back east. He puts on the events. And so I went to the website for the shootout to sign up and put in my info and got to the drop-down list of the vehicle, and it just said Rock Bouncer. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe they're not doing rock crawlers and stuff this year. Maybe it's just Rock Bouncers. And they're pretty exciting to watch, so I wouldn't blame them.
Yeah.
They full throttle and flipping and throwing drivers out of the car. I don't know what they do. There's no trees, luckily, at King of the Hammer, so they can't hit trees.
That's true.
But anyway, so I didn't sign up. And I never made a call or anything. I was going anyways, help out BFG a little bit, and figured I'll figure it out when I get there. So I get there, and I see a Rock Bouncer coming through. I'm like, hey, you doing the shootout? Oh, yeah. Oh, well, where do you sign up? They said you can just sign up at the bottom of the hill that night. I'm like, okay. I go, where are they having it? They're like, oh, we're supposed to go in the morning and find out. We got to go find a course. I'm like, this is not very well organized.
Yeah.
But so busy day of doing stuff at King of the Hammers the day of the shootout, and hanging out with Brian Nichols and Shannon, and we go back to have dinner at Laser Town. I'm staying out there, so we have dinner at the RV, and we're kind of a little bit tired, so we're just hanging out, enjoying it. And pretty soon I'm like, well, we should probably go see about the shootout. So in my car still over at the BFG booth, left it out there. And so I go to get the car, no steering wheel in it, because it's a removable steering wheel. And there's no one at the booth now because it's closed. It's at night. And
oh, shit.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Someone stole my steering wheel? Like,
Yeah.
We have a good group off-roaders.
Yes,
There's
we
not
do.
a lot of problems. So I never even worried about it.
Right.
Well, Tim comes around the corner and goes, "Hey, you looking for your steering wheel?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's all, "I put it away just so no one would take your car."
Good. Okay,
Like,
there.
like
Thanks,
that's
Tim.
the security
From
device.
BFG? Tim from BFG?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then I put the steering wheel in there. I'm getting ready. I'm like, I probably should see how much fuel's in it. Not enough.
Oh,
It doesn't hold that much in the first place. So, the guys from BFG Garage grabbed some fuel for me. I get out there to the hill, and it's already going on.
Right.
We're running late, and that's another thing about me. I don't remember names, and I'm always late. So,
There you go.
Learning a lot
you
about
were on
me.
time today.
but barely, probably.
Oh, no, you
We'd
were
have
there.
to.
You were good.
Yeah. Well, my wife was involved. That probably
okay,
helped.
there you go.
So anyways, we get to the hill and there's people everywhere, and it's already the show's going on. And I'm trying to get through the crowd to get to the bottom of the hill. And it's a maze.
It's packed.
And I get to this one place where I can get to the bottom of the hill, and there's a younger guy that probably is a volunteer, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm trying to get lined up for this." He's like, "Well, this is only for security or emergency vehicles, like ambulances or whatever." So I'm like, okay. So I back up and I take a left, and I'm going through the crowd, and I'm seeing a few people I know,
Sure.
and they're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm trying to get over
Trying
there."
to compete.
And he's like, "Hang on, you got to go that way where you just came from." So he goes running over there, helps me out, and talks to the guy and explains it to him better than I did,
Yeah.
I guess. Runs back over and says, "No, go back over there." So I go through there, and then I get in line, and I start asking the people working the event, like, "Hey, where do you sign up?"
Right.
They're like, "I don't know. You have to talk to Steve." And I'm making names up. 'Cause
Yeah,
I don't remember.
no, it's good. Just don't say that. You can start crediting yourself here, Dave.
So
Rat
we go over to
yourself out.
Steve, and Steve's like, "I don't know." And then I see Jeff McKinley, and I'm like, "Hey, Jeff,
there you go.
where do you sign up?" He's like, "I don't know. Dave just told me to be here." And and finally I get a hold of a guy, and he's like, "Well, I don't know, but you better talk to Dave." I'm like, "Okay." And anyone knows Dave, I love Dave. He's been good to me. But at the very first race I raced, we take off. This is in Reno at the Stampede.
Oh.
And we take off, and right out the gate, we're having troubles with our car. So we take a hard left, go straight to the pits. Well, doing that, we're backwards on course.
Going backwards on course.
Which is terrible, right?
Yeah, you don't ever want to do that.
Luckily, it's the start of the race, so no one's
there was
come
nobody
around.
coming for a couple minutes at least.
So Dave's right there, unfortunately, to see it all. And he flags us down, and I can't repeat it, but he threw a bunch of cuss words at
We
us.
do have an explicit podcast, but no, that's all right.
It was what the F are you doing? And he yelled at us for probably 30 seconds before we got to say anything. And he was right. But that's Dave. He's pretty fiery at times.
Right.
So when he says we need to talk to Dave, I'm like, this could be good or bad. He's going to be like,
he
well, why didn't
remembers.
you sign up already? You know, what's this last minute crap?
Yeah.
And so we're climbing up. He's up on this knoll. So we're climbing up there, and the guy goes, "Hey, I got this guy that wants to do this." He didn't even know my name or anything. And Dave's like, "Well, who is it?"
Yeah.
And I look up because my hat's blocking me as I'm climbing this hill. I'm like, "Hey, Dave." And I put my hand out to shake his hand. He's like, "Oh, yeah, go do what you do, man. You've been doing great. Go do what you do."
Nice.
And he's all excited. And then I'm like, okay, I'll do my best. And I walk off because he was so excited. I was prepared for anything.
Yeah, you didn't know what you were going to get.
But it was very gracious of him to let me do it last minute. And so I'm the last guy now in the whole event. Jeff McKinley, of course, makes it to the top and stands on the top of his car.
Yep.
Crowd goes wild, and he's an amazing driver. So I'm waiting at the start gate, and the guy tells me, "Hey, if you make it to the top, you know you have to stand on your car now, right?" And I'm like, "I don't know, we'll see."
Yeah.
So, of course, I made it faster than Jeff, which anytime I can do better than Jeff or Jesse, these guys, it's a big deal for me because they're the best. And then the emotions just hit, and I was like, I'm going to stand on top of my car. And then the drone flew through the window.
Yeah, flew through the car. That was one of the coolest drone shots. You know, you're standing up on top, and he's like pivoting around, then he goes zoop right underneath you through your car.
Totally showed me up.
Yeah.
Way better driver than me.
So freaking cool. But what a cool moment. That
was fun. Awesome. And looking out at that sea of people, I couldn't believe how many people were there. I mean, that event is just unreal.
Being quote unquote king of the mountain there, looking down, I mean, yeah, that had to be spectacular. We were down to the left, well, it would be your right as you were at the top of the hill. But we were a ways away. And I mean, that obstacle looked crazy, but I don't know, how steep was that freaking last climb?
It's so when I was climbing it, the line for a rock crawler is left to right.
Okay.
And rear steer car, you can zigzag through there pretty easy. Well, I shouldn't say pretty easy, but that's what you need is rear steer car. So, but to get to the very top, that last, I don't know, 6-8 feet, you have to take a hard left, and the whole car pushed to the right, like towards the edge to fall off.
Yeah.
And got my attention real quick, and even the crowd could see it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could see it where you're at in this, because everyone was getting excited because I was so close to the top, and then you could hear the crowd go, oh
yeah. 45,000 people.
And that's what I was doing in my head, too.
Yeah. Because if you roll there, that's quite a drop off that.
Yeah, because you're near the top by then. So, and a fair amount of people figured out how far down it is.
Yeah.
There was a lot of rolls there that night, and put on a good show for everyone. So you can just get up to the top, and I don't know. It was definitely a technical line.
Sure.
And the other thing too, I don't know if you noticed, but I think it was qualifying, Lauren Healy jumped off the other direction.
Correct.
Just just say I steal my moment and just
right. Yeah, you just launched down it like I mean, it was spectacular. It was one of the highlights of the KOH reels for sure. But he had practiced that line a few times before. That wasn't his first time on that line.
No, I like Lauren a lot.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see him do that. He does some amazing stuff in that car.
No doubt. And talk about somebody pushing the limits. Lauren's definitely there pushing the limits of that new car. It's so badass.
Yeah.
And he's a hell of a driver too.
Absolutely.
But so explain what was going through your head when you made it to the top. You knew you had won because you were the last driver, right?
I was the last one.
You were the last one, so you knew who you had won. You're standing on the roof. There's drones flying underneath you. You look down on a sea of ton of light bars and horns going off, and there might have been a few fireworks or something. It was that's got to be just quite a moment when you're standing up there.
It was pretty fun. I gotta admit, it's definitely one of those highlights of your career, because it's a different event.
Sure.
So to win that event, it'd be when you win a We Rock for the first time, it's a big deal. When you win the shootout for the first time, it's a big deal.
Sure.
So, and it was pretty high up there when I stood on my roof.
Way high up there.
Luckily, most people couldn't see it, but my legs were shaking. I don't like heights a whole lot. So, but I got up there with emotion, just excited. So I'm jumping on my roof, and then I realized, shoot, this is high.
How do you not like heights when you're doing all this crazy aerobatic stuff on freaking cars?
I've never liked heights, but I do like adrenaline.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go. Well said. I love it. Oh, my gosh. Well, that's cool. So you want to give a shout out to some of your sponsors, and we talked about aerolids already. I know you got quite a few on the car there.
I do have quite a few. I've been able to team up with a lot of cool companies. Aerolids obviously helps us out a lot, and he helps us out with good times too, which makes it even better. Cody Wagner, who we touched on earlier, Laser Nut, they help us out. Jesse Haynes, he's a friend too. But he's helped me out in so many ways that isn't normal for a sponsor.
Okay.
When we're building my car, I stay at his house.
Yeah.
He's
that's cool.
Great friend. So Trail Gear, they help us out. When I bent that axle housing, I had to hit them up again.
At Nationals, right?
Yeah. Did a inverted nosedive. It wasn't my best move, but I landed it.
Yeah.
So
you guys name any of those, tricks that you do, flops and stuff? I mean, so it's like, like in skiing, there's all these different,
I don't think we like them that much.
Dinner roll and stuff. No, you don't.
No.
Okay. All right.
a lot of times you try and forget them.
Yeah, right.
But it is fun to say I was inverted.
I was inverted. Inverted, yes.
So, but yeah, trail gear, jam rigging with all the winch lines and stuff. He makes awesome American-made products. Shark Skins does all our wraps. Anyone who needs a wrap.
It's a badass wrap. And you can see through that wrap, right?
It's perforated so you can see out the side panels.
That's cool.
He does a lot of big, badass boats out of Havasu. That's where he's out of.
Okay.
So he's pretty high-end. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Prismatic powder coating. They make the powder for powder coating.
Okay.
And that's that orange soda that we use on the wheels.
Nice.
Summit Machine.
Orange soda. That's cool.
Yeah, orange soda. Yep. It's a good orange too. You can have a bad orange.
Is.
But
it's not super bright, but it's not. It's like you say. I don't know. It's a darker orange.
Yeah, and it changes in the light too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun. Summit Machine does all our links.
Those are badass links, man. They're just so sexy.
They are. She makes some amazing products.
Jolene.
Yep. And she's
Remember her name?
Julene.
Or Julene. See.
So, and who knows? I don't know which one of us is right.
Yeah, I was gonna say it could be either way. This is so good. I already got the name for this podcast. I'm not going to tell you yet because you'll forget it. But anyways, I got to get my digs in when I can.
Fair enough. Trail Ready wheels too. I've been a tester of theirs for quite a while. I've broke a couple of their wheels, and not that they don't make great wheels. I just
Extreme.
do some acrobatics that test them past what they should be. So I always keep them in the circle. I'm always talking to them at some time. Bent this wheel, broke this wheel.
Sorry.
Yeah, and actually at that roll at Nationals, we smacked the crap out of the back wheel, and it's still good.
Really?
So, yeah, it's just Sand Hall Off-Road. I got to mention them. That's
SHO.
Everyone that's here at Trail Hero this week needs to know them because you're going to, half of you probably need them.
Yeah.
You know, break something or, but.
I've got the shifter. Shifter in the boat.
Makes a real nice shifter.
Yeah.
Steve's just such a nice guy. He'll help you out just about any time.
And he's a hell of a driver in his own right.
Yeah, he's a trail breaker king.
Yeah.
I don't know if you call it that, but he's won the trail breaker.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been doing it a long time at a high level.
Yeah.
So
he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. So in BFG, they make a great tire. They don't help me out, but I just love their tire, so I still help them out. So
well, and like you said, you like to support the people that support you and build a relationship, partnership. You know, it's not just, hey, give me money and okay, I'll throw your sticker on my car or whatever, right? So you've built a relationship with each one of these companies, which is great. That you can, proudly say that, hey, they help me out, I help them out. It's a win-win, right?
Yeah, and it's a lot of these companies, like I was saying earlier, I do it because I like working with these companies and I like their product. And a lot of them, I don't know what people think that I just get everything for free.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not that big a deal. So, but I'll get racer pricing or anything.
Sure.
And as you approach companies coming in, they get so many people asking for free stuff and telling them who they are and what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't happen like I think some people think that they're just giving away stuff to all these people. Go in and just be humble. Tell them your real story. Don't try and make yourself sound bigger. And, ask them if they have a racer program.
Sure.
I'm trying to get in the sport. Do you have a racer program? So, and I made the mistake back in the day too. Like, I'm going to build this car and I'm going to do this and that. And you hadn't done anything yet. I was a trail wheeler, but I hadn't done anything.
Hadn't proven it yet. Yeah.
But yeah, they get tired of everyone asking for free stuff, and try and put yourself in their shoes. Like,
It wouldn't be in business if they were giving away free stuff all the time.
So there's a select few, like, It's usually the top dog.
Sure.
So,
but even then, it's I've learned, and I'm glad you're saying this because it is real world stuff that a lot of even the top dogs, are still paying for stuff, and it costs money, and it's not this. Oh well, here's a frickin' Jesse Haynes car. Go drive it. Go win. No, it doesn't work like that. This isn't NASCAR. So
it's the other thing too is you like these companies. You want them to stay in business, right?
Yeah.
Like PSC, I get their racer pricing.
Sure.
And same Trail Gear or whoever, when I need something from them, I'll tell them. And actually BFG too, when I was trying to get some help from them, I'll tell them, hey, I like your product, I'm going to run it anyways.
Yeah.
But if you could help me out, that'd be really cool. And then you win some, you lose some, But I'm still running what I want to run.
Yep.
And that's really the bottom line is it's worth running stuff you believe in.
And having the confidence, too, of pushing everything to the extreme like you're doing. You don't want to run some mediocre parts,
Yeah, and I do know some people that they're running it because it's free.
Yeah, well.
Or highly discounted.
Right.
I should sell out a bunch of people right now.
No, well, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want. We only have like 6-7 followers, so people that will listen to this, so you're fine.
No, it's but and they know it.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's not. Is it worth it if it costs you an event?
Right.
Or a weekend.
Right.
So.
Well, I think you mentioned Lauren Healy earlier. He did that early on. Had some parts that he raced and quickly learned that it's not all about free parts.
Yeah. Is it really a deal?
Yeah. Is it really a deal if it's not? And if you're doing R&D for the company and know that going into it, it's like, hey, the company's saying, hey, this is a brand new whatever, and we think it's going to work great, but we want you to test it and try it. That's kind of cool to be on that ground floor, but you're also taking the risk of everything else and all the countless hours in the garage at night and everything that, is this thing going to hold up or not? But,
right.
But it's all part of the gamble and the risk. But it's cool, the partnerships. That's what we've always said on the podcast too. It's like, hey, we're doing this out of our own pocket, out of fun, and we're going to talk about products that we love and we'll promote, like we've done with Old Elk and Element and stuff. I noticed you got an Element fire extinguisher there. I think that's the greatest damn fire extinguisher.
Oh yeah, I heard you're a dealer.
Yeah, so now I'm a dealer. How about that?
So you have you want to sponsor me?
Sure, exactly. Yeah, let me get my people to contact your people, Dave, and we'll do that. Chris will contact you for sure. Chris, yeah.
I forgot to mention Power Tank.
Yeah, and what about Power Tank?
Great people, great products. Unfortunately, I'm out there all the time competing, and no one sees their product on my rig because that's not a spot for it, and it's not something I need on course. But I was using Power Tank stuff last night, just airing up tires, and I use their stuff for charging my shocks.
Okay.
It's a really cool company all the way around. Cool people, cool
Steve
products.
And Tyler.
Yeah, Steve and Tyler.
I'll help you out there.
No.
So, how do you actuate your air lockers? Is there an actual compressor then?
So I use the AirB compressor to the AirB lockers.
Because I know some people use a power tank, mini power tank CO2 cylinder.
I do have. It's a cool setup, but if you break a line, then you're just done unless you have another one.
Got it.
So that's the only reason I don't like that setuut. But there's less to go wrong too. The pump can't.
Sure. Yeah.
You can't burn up a pump.
Right. Or air tank, yeah.
So, because you have the air tank, there's nothing. It's just, it works. So there's a place for it.
Sure.
But, I just didn't want the liability of breaking a line and then being out of air totally. And,
sure.
But actually, that comes from racing. We used to run those on our Ultra 4 car, and it's Jimmy Hoy's Fighting 55 car.
Yeah.
And we did that. We broke an airline, dumped the tank. We have more tanks at the pits, but we had none on us.
Sure.
So we started carrying an extra one. After that, it was a tough lesson. But so it's in desert racing, it's a little tougher, just because you don't want to be without your air lockers.
Sure.
So, but so I don't know. I was actually just doing a video last night of their 2-stage air chuck where you can release the pressure and then release the tool. And so you release the air pressure, then I released the tool, which was my air up gauge for the tires.
Okay.
I just pulled the chuck, and the tool just kind of flopped. I wasn't holding on to the tool. It just clicked out. It didn't shoot across the room.
Right. Like, yeah, you got to catch it in one hand or whatever.
And the hose is flying out of your hand the other way and smacking the car or something.
Yeah.
So just cool products.
Yeah.
So
right on. That's good. So anything else you want to talk about? We covered quite a bit of ground here, man.
We barely covered my wife.
Well, you want to talk about your wife?
She really wanted to talk on your podcast.
Jennifer.
Actually, she said she didn't want to talk.
Oh, she doesn't want to talk at all.
She doesn't like you, Chris.
Yeah, I know. That's good. Everybody likes Jason on the podcast. Nobody likes Chris. Yeah. I will agree with you there.
That's what my wife said.
Yeah, see? That's so true. So true. Even Lorenzo's shaking his head.
No, but my wife...
She's a huge supporter, it sounds like.
She is.
Yeah, right? You couldn't do this if it wasn't for her.
I don't know why she puts up with me. And she said this the other day, and it really hit home. I get hyper-focused on my car and the event that's going on and forget about life. We have kids, 2 kids, my son, Riley, and my daughter, Reese. Daughter, Reese, comes out to a lot of events. A lot of people know her. She's an amazing little girl. But all I focus on is the car, and I'll work on it all night and the event, and... My wife gets a little jealous, I think, or mad at me. I don't know what it is.
Does she call it the side chick?
No, but basically that's how it is. So, but she's always there supporting and making sure I eat and just take care of the other stuff.
That's cool.
So today I was coming out here hyper-focused, like loading up. I'm going to take off. I got a podcast to do. It's a real big deal.
It's a huge deal. Huge.
So... I leave, and then I'm like, she messaged me. She's like, you should take whiskey or wine, right? Because she's the fun half. So, like, if we go to a party, she's the thoughtful person.
Right.
That brings a bottle of wine to the party, and I just show up like, hey, what's happening?
That's
so
typical guy.
And so then we started texting back and forth, like, you should come out and just hang out.
Yeah.
It's So I talked her into coming out and worked out.
Perfect.
But she's just, she's the better half for sure. She's the one that balances me out. So
right on. That's super cool. Yeah, it takes an army. I mean, there's a lot to this stuff, and traveling, and I mean, it's at the level that you're at. It's not just, oh, hey, let's load up the rig and go hit a couple of trails. It's like, you've got some responsibilities and some, your sponsors there, and trying to keep up, stay on that podium. So, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work trying to stay competitive at this level, and
with the competition that you have. I don't envy you, Dave, but congratulations. You've done a hell of a job. You got a sweet moon buggy, and check out Dave on the IG for sure. Club 42 Racing, right? Club 42
Correct.
Racing.
Yep.
And are you on any other social medias or anything?
Just Dave Wong on Facebook.
Okay.
So I have a YouTube that's not really having a YouTube. I got maybe a handful of videos on there.
Okay.
Not very good about it, but I'm trying to get better. I believe it's Club 42 Racing also.
You got to get the kids involved with that. Just say, hey, make some YouTube videos.
Yeah. Gabe from Arrowhead said, you got to do TikToks. That's the thing.
Oh, the TikToks.
And he's all, your daughter can show you. And I'm
like,
I don't know if I'm into TikTok.
Yeah.
I get that it's a real big deal, but it seems pretty teenager.
Reels on Instagram are real good too. So
I just started doing some reels.
Okay.
And
so there you go.
It's crazy how those take off.
Oh, it's stupid. We had one. I was at Jeepers Jamboree this year on the Cook Crew.
Yeah.
First time I've been to Jeepers Jamboree. Always wanted to go. Never wanted to spend the money to go. And never wanted to sit on the trail for hours, right? Doing the trail because, we go up in, a few hours with buddies and have a blast, and we're in the Springs. But anyway, so I got invited this year to be part of the Cook Crew, and we had an absolute ball. And I just shot the video, and there was hundreds of people shooting videos of all the steaks out on Saturday night.
Yeah.
All sitting out on the table there on each side of the food line and thawing them out. And so I just did that, and I found that Hank Hill soundbite, if they're not cooked medium rare, we'll firmly and politely ask you to leave. And I'm like, oh, this is funny. Thing hit 14.5 million views.
Holy cow.
And that's all. I didn't do anything special. I just threw it out there, and the algorithm picked it up, and it just started sharing it, and people from parts of the world that I've never heard of before are commenting on it, and languages I've never seen before, and it's like, well, this is pretty freaking cool. So the reach of this interwebs and stuff is just insane. And it just, funny little things like that. But the Reels are trying to compete with TikTok. So, the Instagram's really pushing those. So
and I've been trying to figure out what catches on.
There's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah, that's what I figured out.
Because you see some of these, you've had some epic rollovers that are on IG, and it's
hey.
Well, or pirouettes, whatever. That comes with the territory that you're in,
yeah,
right?
It's fair.
It comes with the territory. It's, but it makes for good video.
Yeah.
And, it's like, why doesn't that have 14 million views,
It's spectacular.
You don't have to be into the sport to appreciate a, vehicle coming off a frickin' 12-foot rock, doing something crazy. So, I don't know. I throw stuff out there. People enjoy it. It's fun. And as long as I enjoy it, going out and buddies comment on it, it's all good,
Yep.
I got nothing to prove here. We just go have fun, and so as long as Jason doesn't yell at me, because he's always giving me a hard time. So, But no, so Dave, man, thank you so much for coming out. This was your first podcast, so you did great.
First podcast,
awesome. Well, I'm glad.
So thanks for having me.
Yeah. No, anytime. I'm looking forward to this week and watching you compete. Now, are you in qualifying, or are you already in the Trailbreaker? Do you have to qualify or
I have to qualify.
You do have to qualify. So that's going to be at Sand Hollow Resort Wednesday night.
I thought they moved it because at the resort they found some arrowheads and they closed it off to us, which would have been really cool over the golf course. And
bummer.
So it's going to be on the hill.
Okay.
Not too far. Like if you come through the tunnel, I think it's up and to the right just a little bit.
Over by Nasty Half and stuff.
I think it's to the right of Nasty Half. Woody Swearingen just pointed at the hill. It's over there.
Okay.
So that's all I know.
Okay.
But that's on Tuesday.
Okay.
So
Tuesday afternoon, right? 2:00.
2:00.
Okay.
13 guys. 6 get to go on if they finish the course.
Okay.
If you don't finish, you can't go on. So you have to finish the course to go on. And only 6 will go.
Wow.
To the Trailbreaker, which will be Friday.
So
the day after your rock crawl.
Yeah, the day after you help us with the rock crawl.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
Oh, it's. I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad I'm not driving. I'm just spotting, so I could just. Here we go. This is gonna be good. Hopefully, we're friends after this still.
It's just competition.
Yeah, it's just.
He doesn't
Chris.
mean what he's saying.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's awesome. Well, hey, best of luck on qualifying. We're going to be there cheering you on. Thank you so much for your time and coming out today. This is the beginning of Trail Hero Week, so the fun is just now beginning. So this is awesome.
It's going to be a fun week for sure.
Heck yeah! All right, Dave, man, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So there it is.
Yeah.
Dave Wong interview. How good was that? You were there, apparently.
I had a great time.
So I didn't see you there, but Dave saw you there.
Apparently, I didn't drink enough.
Super cool insight to that whole competitive, the Wee Rocks.
Sure.
I mean, it is this is the upper echelon, right? And getting to talk to somebody like Dave that's super cool, down to earth, and got a badass rig, state of the art rig, and to see what they achieve and the shit that they climb, it's like unbelievable.
It's just some of the stuff I watch these guys do is like there's no way.
Yeah, it is. It's just like I say, I've been wheeling for a long time, and I look at this stuff and I'm like, I don't care what I'm driving. I ain't making it up that. And then these guys are like, go right up, nothing.
Like you said, they have state-of-the-art rigs. They have stickies. They've got
cutting brakes,
water in their tires.
Yeah.
I mean, any little trick that was required to make it happen, they've got going on. So, whatever the advantage is, and I mean, obviously, that's the way the level that the sport is adapted to or evolved to. And then, I know last year we talked about those transfer cases that.
So he's got that. So I saw that the reverser box.
Right, that's what I was going to ask.
So he pointed out the reverser box on there. And it's just 2 gears in an aluminum housing, that reverses the torque there.
Sure.
And, I don't know. It's a simple concept when you start thinking about it, but it freaking works.
It's
just another trick of the trade. And,
exactly. I mean,
another tool.
Keep the tires on the ground, man.
Yeah. And so anyways, very cool. And so... this episode was early in the week. We had a blast. Dave and his wife and his daughter came into camp, a couple times throughout the trip. They were camped near us, and cool. It was fun. I mean, it was just super cool getting to know them better. His wife likes whiskey, by the way, so
good.
I had her sample a few wares that I had in there in the camper, and then she brought one over. It was a bird dog.
Bird dog?
Yeah, it was a berry something. It was sweet. It was a good after dinner, like after campfire, like.
There's a movie that had a bird dog reference in it.
Good night, deal.
Bird dog.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to drink it all night long because it's definitely got some sugar in it. But
Tyler would have liked it.
Tyler would have loved it. Of course. That's totally a Toyota Tyler drink.
Oh boy.
There. But anyways. So here we are, fast forward to Friday trail. Well, wait a minute. Let's back up a little bit.
Oh shit.
So Tuesday was Trailbreaker.
Okay.
And so Dave had to qualify.
Right.
Okay. Because he wasn't guaranteed a spot in the Trailbreaker event. He had to qualify in LCQ.
Right.
And he was number 10. So he had to wait in a tent for roughly 2 hours, to qualify, go through LCQ. So we talked about that. And then, so he qualifies. And then, here we are, fast forward to Friday is Trailbreaker. And he gets drawn again at number 10, which is there's 10 drivers. So he's the last one to compete. So they are in an enclosed tent, so they cannot watch.
Oh, really?
What other drivers are doing? They can walk the course and all that stuff, but they cannot see what other drivers are doing. Like if they back off an obstacle, because sometimes it's advantageous to back off an obstacle, or hit an obstacle a different way or angle or whatever they're doing. He used his rear winch or he did this dig, whatever. So they have zero knowledge going into the course from watching other drivers.
Oh, they got to keep it fair.
Yeah. And it was interesting because there was 3 courses throughout the Trailbreaker. And as they progressed through the courses, they had them stage in areas when they finished that course where they couldn't see the driver in front of them doing the next course.
Oh.
And then BFG, it was sponsored by BFG. So they had BFG banners, canopies and stuff over their rigs so they could not see. They're basically blindfolded.
Sure.
Which was cool. It kept it fair. And it's interesting because it's you can watch. It's just like going out on your average weekend ride and you watch, the line in front of you. Now rocks may move and stuff, but you can get an idea of, that's the line. Well, they don't get that. They're totally going in literally blindfolded.
Awesome.
And seeing this terrain other than them walking it beforehand and knowing what they're coming against, but not seeing other vehicles go over it.
Right.
And this is brand new. Just got to reiterate that this is called Trailbreaker because this is terrain that no vehicles have been on before.
Period. Seriously?
Yes.
Nobody's ever done it?
Well, maybe back in 16, Fred Flintstone maybe did it. And Barney Rubble.
George Jetson.
Dun, dun, dun. That's the future.
Oh.
We still don't have flying cars.
Well, there's a theory that George Jetson and his family were in the clouds above the Flintstones down on the ground.
Really?
It's a theory about those cartoons that they were concurrent. Shit you hear on Wheeling Wine and Whiskey.
Is this the same people that think the Earth is flat or
exactly.
what? Oh, okay.
Fucker.
Anyway, so Jesus.
Well, there was an episode where they switched, where the Flintstones were up in the Jetson world and the Jetsons were down in the Flintstones. Don't you remember that
one?
Oh my God! Come on, man.
Was that like modern day stuff, or was that back in the
back in the day? Come on, man. All right,
come on, man.
Back on to Dave Wong.
Okay,
right.
so let's so Dave ends up winning Trailbreaker.
Right.
Newsflash. Dave Wong wins Trailbreaker. There it is. Yes. Congratulations, Dave. So we're there watching this thing, and Dave's the last one to compete, and just
10 of 10.
Well, it's a timed event, but nobody else could make it through the third obstacle, the third and final obstacle, third course final obstacle, I should say. And Dave got up to it and gave it hell, and he finally broke through and crossed the finish line. And being the last one, he won.
Yeah.
Jesse Haynes gave it hell, but he timed out.
Oh, boy.
And so, and he was like the fastest on course 1 and course 2. Had a little trouble on course 3, and then, of course, couldn't complete the task on the final there. But
so big names were up there.
Dude, these are the best of the best,
Yeah,
okay?
no doubt.
This is no freaking amateur hour out there. And you know, Dave and I talked about it on the podcast here. It's like, you know, is it advantageous to be the first, the last, the middle, you know? And it just depends.
Right.
Because you could watch, and they call it Trailbreaker for a reason, because like rocks are crumbling below their
Sure.
tires, and that may help or hinder you.
Well, the trail's always changing.
Yeah, and so you know, whether it helped Dave or not, but he crossed the finish line. So he wins, and I go back up. Dave came back into our camp, and I go, dude, we got to do a follow-up podcast.
Right.
You're Trailbreaker winner. I mean, you know, we gotta round this thing out. And he goes, absolutely. So we sat down Saturday night as Filter is on stage, and Filter was like right in line with our camp. I mean, you could hear him clear as day. But super cool. And so Dave and his family came back into our camp, and we recorded this last little 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, something like that.
Talking about Trailbreaker and what his experience was like going through those 3 courses and becoming the ultimate champion of
Right on.
Trailbreaker. So let's get into that.
Well, before did he name it? He's supposed to be.
He
able to
did name it.
Okay, is it named in this episode?
Maybe.
I haven't listened yet.
Oh, you haven't?
All right.
Okay.
Boom.
All right. We are here. Final hours of Trail Hero 2022. It's Saturday night. People are packing up, heading out tomorrow, Sunday. But before we head out, we had to circle back with our friend Dave Wong and hear about his crazy run on Trailbreaker. And he came out on top, Dave. Dave, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, and I'm glad you can make it out, Jason. Missed you earlier in the week.
Yes, Jason is at camp. Yeah, I had to work and everything, so it's good to meet you, Dave. Thanks for coming on the podcast here.
Thanks for having me.
So, inside joke. Well, you'll hear it on the beginning of this podcast. So we're recording a few days later. So we spoke to you a few days before Trailbreaker, and yesterday, Friday, was Trailbreaker, and there was 10 competitors, including yourself, right?
Yep.
And you were the last one to run.
Yes.
Okay, which we kind of talked about. Could be advantage, could be disadvantage. It all just depends. But you came out on top. You finished the course. There's 3 separate courses to go through.
Correct.
Now, I do have a clarification because I was talking to a few people that were working it. So if you hit a flag, is there a penalty involved, or how's that work? What are the gate flags?
The gate flags are, if you hit the pole, it's a DQ.
Okay.
If the flag flies into your car from the wind or anything like that, that's fine. But if you hit the pole of the flag, it's automatic DQ.
Oh, it is an automatic DQ. Okay. So I was wondering if there's like points off or how that worked. No,
there is a point system.
Okay.
Of course, it didn't come into play this time, but in case no one finishes the courses,
right.
Each gate has a point.
Okay.
Scale, I guess, or score. More difficult gates will have a better point score than the easier gates.
Okay.
And then they'll tally that up.
Okay.
And then if that doesn't decide it, then you have time is the factor. If there's a tie after the points,
right,
they'll have fastest time wins.
Okay. All right. So that makes sense.
But none of that mattered this time.
It didn't matter, right? So, and then you do the courses in order, 1, 2, 3, right?
Correct. Everyone does them
in the
not
sequence.
A shotgun start.
It's not a shotgun start, so there was a sequence. So the first driver that got name out of the hat did course 1, and then finished that course, and then they started the second driver. And it was interesting because they don't want you watching other drivers, so they had you staged on the course before you'd come down to the next course and stuff, and then they were putting tarps over your car so you couldn't see. And that was pretty crazy.
That was a new thing. Usually we just sit in a tent.
That's what I thought, yeah. But because that terrain was so, I guess, extreme in there, it's hard to put a tent at every locale, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, probably, I guess.
Okay. So walk us through Trailbreaker 2022 when you got drawn 10th, and were you like, crap, or were you like, no, this is exactly where I want to be, or nope, I get to sit in the tent for 2 hours again waiting for this thing to launch?
The best spots are usually like third or fourth.
Okay.
The course is a little broken. Going last it's not my favorite, just because you have to sit around and wait so long.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan. I like to watch too. So once you finish your courses, you can watch the rest of the guys.
Okay.
Which I enjoy as probably as much as any of the fans.
Right.
So, but it is what it is. The computer drew the numbers, and I got 10 last. But it made for a pretty good finish of the event.
It absolutely did. It definitely added to it, being that you were the last driver and you crossed the finish line of the third course. So that definitely added the drama.
Yeah.
It's like a movie script.
It really was like someone wrote the story.
Right.
It was really special for me. It was a big deal for me. I love this sport, and I think this is one of the purest driver competitions. There's no spotters. You don't get to look at the course before, or you don't get to watch other people do the course and get clues on what works, what doesn't work. And speed oftentimes is the deciding factor. So I was trying to hustle through courses as fast as I could. Jesse Haynes is ultra fast in his car. He's just so comfortable in that thing. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately for Jesse, he couldn't make it out the third course. Third course was arguably the toughest one.
Yeah.
So just when it came down to the third course, first gate was a tough one. I think only 3 people made it past the first gate.
On the third course?
On the third course.
Yeah. It was
Jesse Haynes.
I think, yeah. Haynes did, Mad Cow, John did.
And so did
you,
Jeff McKinley.
And Jeff McKinley did.
And then he rolled shortly after that.
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. It's all some of the best drivers out there in that setting. And so competing against my peers that I look up to, it's really special to get out there and just be able to beat them.
Sure. Come out on top.
So, like you said, John Mad Cow Himble, he's another local, and he's a heck of a driver. He's a adrenaline junkie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's a speed skier. He was a bull rider. Now he's a rock crawler, so he's practically fearless.
Right.
Course 2, we're 30 or 40 feet up on the side of a hill and having a crab across it. It'll mess with your head, mess with my head.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, anyways, back to the third course. Obviously, no one was able to get all the way out, gate 3. Jesse probably made it the furthest and then ended up breaking his rear axle in some form.
He timed out, and they kept yelling time, but he had it hammering and just going, Jesse style. He was so close, but he was still going for a good minute and a half, 2 minutes after time.
Oh, really?
And then that's when he freaking...
He just wanted to prove he could do it,
I'm sure.
I
think so.
I've been there.
Yeah.
You're frustrated you didn't make it,
yeah.
And you want to prove you can. But it's,
So that first, so talking about third course, that first section, you went up this canyon, but it had like some big trenches and it was diffing everybody out. They were getting hung up on diffs and everything there. You negotiated across it pretty well, but then you got to set up for that climb. And then that's when people would get set up for the climb and they kept falling off. And I think you fell off once, maybe twice on your line.
I felt like it was more like 3 or 4, but everything seems like it's happening. And when things are going wrong, it seems like a lot of stuff's going wrong. And then you watch the video and it's like it was 3 seconds or something.
Yeah.
I guess maybe like a car crash. It seems like forever.
Right.
So I got up in there and had to make some adjustments. And really, that's what I'm best at is adjusting. When something's not working, I kind of see what we're doing and then adjust and make it happen.
Right.
So, and like when we were talking about Jesse and those guys, since I was last, I still haven't gone back and watched any of the footage.
Okay.
So I really don't know what happened to a lot of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So like your insight is it's like I wasn't even there.
Yeah, right. And unfortunately, like you say, starting last and you're in that tent forever, you don't get your run out of the way, so to speak, and then get to watch some of your buddies compete and see what lines they choose. So let's back up. That first course, you had like a heck of a trench, and you had to literally just stick to this wall. And everybody I was watching was falling off the wall. I don't know if anybody like totally walked it in one shot. I unfortunately didn't see you on course 1. I was over stuffed on 3, but how did you do on course 1 on that very first section?
I think you're talking about the up, right?
Oh, yeah, the up. So you did come down. Did you back down that?
Back down.
Yeah, that was a heck of a little drop-off.
Yeah, John made that exciting. I did see his video.
Okay.
It's a internet sensation, but really, if you did it right, it wasn't that bad. But you are backing down, and you don't have any spotters, so he got a little offline.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. And then gate 2, the up with the sandy bottom.
That was it.
I kind of cheated it. To be honest, it looks like you would just go to the bottom and try and climb up, but you could skate around the right side and crab over across the inside hill.
Okay.
And then you just have to be careful not to hit the flags right in your way.
Right.
So sneak around that. And it wasn't too bad. Sometimes it's about outsmarting the course instead of powering through it. And course 1 was the easiest, which it should be. Each one gets a little harder. After you sneak around that flag, drop down into
get that drop off,
and it's a little off camber, but you can't really go anywhere. So you can. I kind of just threw it in there, fell against the other wall, went out fast as I could. I think it was about a little over a minute. I think Jesse did in just under a minute.
Okay,
and you can hear a little bit like cars going and stuff, and when they stop. So I knew how fast he was.
Right.
So, and then
hi to everybody.
Going on to you on the podcast?
That's Mufasa. That's right. It's a husky, very furry husky, but one of the tamest huskies I've ever met.
Very curious. Dude.
Yeah, he is a very curious.
I thought he was
dog.
going to eat Lorenzo.
He that's right. A few days ago, he was eyeballing Lorenzo hard. Okay, so you say course 1 easiest, and the drop off wasn't as bad. I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, I wouldn't do that in my buggy, but I don't have a force steer buggy either. So, and then you had to dart up the hill and you were like king of the mountain up there.
Course 2.
Yeah. Oh, that was course 2. Yeah.
So course 2, gate 1, didn't go as well as I'd planned. It was a tricky little crack line with a climb out of it to the left instead of just a straight crack like a lot of this out here at Sand Hollow. You just straddle the crack and go all the way through.
Right.
Don't fall in. But you had to transition out of the crack to the left and up and out. Got through that, dropped down, and then you had that huge mountain. And it kept you a little off camber towards where you would fall off into
the abyss.
I think it was probably at 40 feet,
at least.
Think?
Yeah.
At the top?
Yeah, I would say.
So as you climb, of course, you're getting farther from the bottom.
Right.
And then they did make you crab across about halfway up towards the downhill side. So if that was near flat ground, not as bad.
Right.
But you never know how much traction you have, and you're just looking over your right shoulder at certainly messing up your rig. And hopefully not yourself.
Yeah, right.
So, and then you have to drop into a crack and then get to the top. Cool course. You're at the top of that mountain, I don't know, 50 feet maybe?
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
So, pretty cool. And again, I had heard the Jesse going up there. He has a supercharger you just can't mistake. And he got to the top, and he went over the top rock so fast that it kicked his back tire up, and it looked like he was going to roll off the top of that thing. I did go back and look that video because I'd heard about it. But he probably was never worried, but it sure looked terrible. So, of course, my run, it went as planned on that course. Other than the first climb, I had to make a couple adjustments, get up it. And then going back now, I know I was trailing Jesse because going into the last course, well, it's BFG's sponsored event.
Right.
Trailbreaker. Well, Rich told Tim from BFG, hey, Dave's the only guy left, and right now, Maxis has the lead.
Oh.
Which is Jesse.
Right.
So Tim's sweating it now.
Yeah.
He doesn't want another tire to win his event.
Right.
BFG event.
Right.
Can't have that.
No. That's not in the movie script.
Yeah. So, then they throw me under the tarp until I get to go.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about the third course.
At the very beginning, the trench, and then negotiate. I mean, you're pretty damn vertical climbing up those rocks, straddling a big trench, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a good sized hole there that you were having to negotiate, and everybody was having trouble there. Nobody. Well, John Hamill, I think, was the only one that went through pretty effortlessly, but I don't think he didn't one shot it.
Okay,
but he did do it quickly, where everybody else really struggled.
Yeah, and I think at least a couple people rolled there, right?
Yep.
And I didn't really know who, but
Steve Nance.
Oh yeah,
Steve Nance rolled there. Yeah, he flipped it over backwards, so he was on his lid.
Okay,
and then recovery was to flip it back over, end over end, back upright.
Oh
yeah. That guy who was the guy with the real long stretched buggy?
He's an East Coast guy.
Yeah.
Steve Marquardt.
That's it. Okay. So he rolled at the very, very end of his time. He was, less than 2 minutes left, and he should have but he did a pretty spectacular tumble off the rock and over there. And then, of course, McKinley.
Jeff McKinley.
Yeah, Jeff McKinley made it through that gate, started heading for the second gate, and he was slipping, and he just tumbled side and onto his wheels. But he rolled right over the gate, so that DQ'd him.
I could see that from the top of the mountain.
Okay.
Because they couldn't really, I guess they could have thrown a tarp over me, but they weren't doing that to the guys up at the top.
Yeah, you could just see the very bottom gate there, the monster flags and stuff, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the start of course 3.
I felt for him when he rolled. Jeff, he's a great driver. He's a trailbreaker champion, or I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah.
But so he's a great driver. So when I saw him do that, I knew he wasn't happy.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the way it goes. It's wheeling, right?
Yeah. So you were eating up some time. So what was going through your head when you were trying to negotiate just getting up onto that through the first gate, essentially, I guess there?
Just figure out the puzzle. It's always just figuring out the puzzle. There's, those cars have so many tools, cutting brakes, lockers, you name it. You figure out the puzzle that makes your car go up that.
And you got a timer on your dash there too, so you
kind
of keep track of what's going on, how much time you got.
Yeah, it's a lot better just to know than try and guess, and stress yourself out.
Right.
Especially, same one I use in We Rock. It's time's important.
Sure.
So yeah, it was taking a little bit of time to get up there. Of course, you start, just anxiety sets in. You're like, am I gonna make it? I can't waste too much more time because I still got 2 more gates, and I know the last one's tough because no one's made it.
Right.
So finally find the line. Is all front passenger tire was the key there. Just hook that sucker and then keep on letting it eat. Get around that, and then we drop down into that gully, which, as Jeff McKinley knows now, it will mess with you.
Oh yeah.
Make your car do funny things. I kind of I knew looking at that it was gonna mess with me, so I took a different line than what he did.
Right.
I just more of an angle and just straight out of it, so you didn't get kicked sideways. Up and over, and then of course gate 3, which was the difference maker.
Sure.
Pretty vertical crack.
You had the front wheels off the ground at one point.
I think twice.
Yeah. I have it on video, one for sure. It came up and you hit reverse and then popped right back down. But yeah, you were full wheelie mode.
Yeah, it's just trying to get the car to settle up in there and didn't like it. No. So, but on the third attempt, I got the tires back up in there and we just pulled the front only, let the tires bite into that crack and really wedge in, and then back to 4-wheel drive, and it popped up. And crowd went crazy. I've seen some videos of that. Friends have shown me, and even the judge. The judge is so sweet. You could see her pump her arm for me, and she's supposed to be what do you call that? Where it's what's that? Well, she's just can't have like favorites.
Right.
So I'm really good with words here.
Yeah. Can't play favoritism.
Yeah. But it was neat to see her even excited. Of course, I was pumped. Once the back came up, I knew
you were there.
We were there. And then the front tire dove into the bottom, stopped me again, and I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it was augering in some loose sand. I mean, that was super loose up in there.
So, emotional roller coaster. Thought I had it, and then I'm stuck again.
Right.
And that literally felt like 30, 45 seconds that I was stuck. But I watched the video and it's like 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So, got out of there, drive out the gate, and it's a really big deal for me. I was so pumped.
Yeah.
Took my steering wheel off, threw it out the windshield and into the dirt. I'm trying to crawl out of there, but it's off camber and it's sitting up higher than usual, so I can't reach the ground and I can't find a place to put my foot. And finally I was like, I'm just gonna fall out and I'll get back up. I'll just go to the dirt and come back up.
Right.
And someone was there to grab me by then and help me and jump on my tire, and
there you go.
Thank the crowd. And here comes Rich with the trophy.
Yeah.
So just a great moment.
And everybody rushing up. Yeah, that was super cool. I had a really good position at the bottom. And when you made that, it was like, then people were trying to, the media and stuff, and the officials were trying to climb up where you drove up, and it was a big step, 4 or 5 foot step, and then where you could where your tires were another 6 feet above that or so. But it was funny. So I was helping people get up in there, and it was actually a good angle for us to get video and pictures of you with the backdrop and standing up, and it was a cool angle too. So cool shot. But yeah, man, that's super freaking exciting. It was extra special too for us when, getting to hang out and wheel with you earlier and do the podcast. And then it was like, there you go. And you were in our camp the night before. And and I said, okay, you're going to win this thing tomorrow. And so I'm going to say I'm part of your good luck charm too. I just throw it out there since everybody else was jumping on the good luck bandwagon.
Yeah, I've had a few people that claim that they're the reason I won.
Right. No.
I'm not going to deny it.
Whatever works, right?
Yeah,
whatever works. Take all the luck you get. But the emotions, and that's why I saw you this afternoon. I'm like, you still on cloud nine? And you're like, yeah. I mean, it is super cool because this is the top of the top rock crawling, the best of the best, right?
It really, really is. There's still other good drivers out there, but they try and get the best ones they can get to come.
Right.
And then the drivers that have won in the past, they were some of the first people to come up and congratulate me.
Yeah.
It's different than a lot of competitions where, they don't hang out like we do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're friends first.
Uh-huh.
But we're also competitors, and we're also we're biggest fans of each other too.
Uh-huh.
So I know Jesse was really happy for me. He's seen my evolution and helped me get a car, and they're just some great guys.
Sure.
And they're like brothers.
Yeah.
They're happy for you. So just like I was happy for Caleb last year when he won it. Caleb's a great guy.
Sure.
And so it makes it just more fun. There's no angst. There's no spite of each other. We're all here for the same reason, and if you win, then kudos to you.
Right. Well, and it gives you that cred too, right? It's like, I mean, that's a nice feather in the cap to say, hey, yeah, I won Trailbreaker 2022.
It's really all about bragging rights.
Right.
I mean, amongst the drivers, they try to make it the purest competition of driving skill. And so, yeah. And plus, I'm automatically in Trailbreaker next year.
Yep.
And the year after that.
Oh,
so
2 years.
Once until they get too many drivers, right now, if you've previously won, you're automatically in.
Okay.
But at some point, there's going to be more winners than they
spots.
can have.
Yeah, okay.
So they'll have to figure that out sometime.
Okay.
But for now, so the near future, I'm in.
That's great.
So I don't have to I did LCQ to get in this year.
Right, yeah. And that's the other cool part of the movie story that was written here is that you were LCQ. So, like, you didn't qualify, you wouldn't even be in the Trailbreaker itself. You weren't automatically entered. So you had to put on a good performance and make the Trailbreaker LCQ just to get the opportunity to win, and you did it. Yeah,
it was almost more pressure on that than because without that you're not even in it. So, and that went well, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was nearly as excited when I finished that one, just so I could be in it. Kind of like any LCQ, like KOH LCQ.
Yeah. Got everything.
Those
on the
guys.
line.
They spend so much money to be there.
Yeah.
And then they put it all on one qualifier.
Right.
So, I don't know. The whole thing was just so fun for me. It was hard for me. Like, Glenn came up, was interviewing me. I didn't even know what to say.
Yeah.
I thank my wife and my daughter.
Right.
I thank my title sponsors. And then he took the mic because he knew I was like struggling with emotions and tearing up a little bit. And then he let me have a minute and talk to my daughter, my wife, or whatever, and the guys, the other drivers. And he came back to me. He's like, "You got anything else you'd like to say?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what to say."
Yeah.
Just
right.
That's gonna have to do.
You did. Yeah. I mean, that's tough. I mean, yeah, you're just struggling with all those emotions, excitement, and just trying to soak in what was going on, and cool that family and friends were there, and and the weather was great. I mean, there was a ton of people there watching.
And that really makes it even more fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
The fans get into it. I watched some videos and they're yelling my name.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear it that day, but once I got out of the car and gave them a fist pump to the crowd, they all cheered me on, and it's
fun.
It's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why they like us, but I'm sure glad they do.
It's the orange color maybe there, Stick us out. You do have you have a distinctive car, and it's always looking sharp, and so it's a good thing. And now you got the Trailbreaker added to the ball cap there. So
yeah,
very, very freaking cool, Dave. Man, so what's next now?
We're off to Texas next month.
That's right.
So
get back into it. So, word's gotten out. I got to imagine you're getting a ton of text messages and people calling and stuff.
Yeah, it's been crazy the last 24 hours. Just I don't even know how to explain it. I've never had so many messages and shares and stuff, and trying to keep up with it on social media. I don't know how you famous people do it.
Yeah.
So, kudos to you, Jason.
Yeah, right. Not me.
So it's and then I can't remember what it's called in Texas, but it's another Trailbreaker type of platform. I don't know if it's Top Gun or it's something that's Texan.
Yeah.
And I think it's around the 11th, 13th.
Okay.
Should probably looked all this up before the show.
That's all right. Well,
but look it up on social media. Randy Cruz is putting it on. $10,000 guaranteed purse, which here Trailbreaker's just bragging rights, which is kind of cool too.
Nice trophy.
And a nice trophy. I put it on a lanyard and I was going to wear it around, but it's pretty heavy.
It's pretty big.
So I thought it might give me a neck ache or something.
That wouldn't be good. Yeah, no.
Asked my wife if it looked gaudy, and she said no, but I didn't believe her.
That's great. Oh, so cool. Well, Dave, glad. Thanks for coming back, and this will round out the podcast from before Trailbreaker and after Trailbreaker and winning Trailbreaker. Very cool episode here. So
I really appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'll let Chris know that I finished up this one, and he glad he got that first podcast.
Yeah, I guess he had to leave, huh?
Yeah, he did. He did. Had to go back to work. Anyways, man, thanks a lot. Just keep doing what you're doing because it's working.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dave. Have a good one, man. Boom. There it is.
Woo!
Dave Wong. Champion.
Wong.
King. El Jefe de Trailbreaker.
El Jefe?
2022.
Padron.
He's the winner. That's so super cool. So it was fun to interview him before and then, after here and being at the event and watching it all go down. Just super surreal, fun, unbelievable. So I don't know, man. You weren't there, but
no, I wish I was.
You should have seen this. It was out of control.
Well, I watched some of the different videos of things happening. I didn't watch the live stream, but it looked crazy.
Oh, it was crazy is an understatement. That second course, was super steep, off camber. They had to crab walk,
right?
And then they come into the third course, and right out of the gate, they make a hard left up this trench. Nothing too major in comparison to how hard this event is. And then they had to make this hard right up this crack that everybody got, wadded up in. And Dave spent some time trying to figure out that puzzle, as he says. John Mad Cow Hamill, he freaking blasted right up it. He figured it out right away. But unfortunately he didn't finish the course. So, but anyways, just so cool. And it's quite, with Rich Klein, the head of Trail Hero here and all his experience of rock crawling and across the world, puts on this event, and every year it keeps getting better. The Trailbreaker. Right. Unfortunately, last year there was rain and, it got cut short and everything. But this year's Trailbreaker course was just, it was movie worthy of how it all played out.
Absolutely. I'm sure there'll be videos all over YouTube.
And how hard they're already out there. And it's just, the whole story of how it all unfolded and, Dave being the last guy and then he ends up winning and, it was super cool how it all played out. And, I told Dave, because everybody was claiming fame to this thing, like, oh yeah, I shook your hand before the event, so that gave you good luck and this and that. And, I tell Dave, I'm like, hey, yeah, well, we interviewed you and we wish you good luck. So that's why you won. So I'm confident that that's why he won Trailbreaker, is because Wheeling Wine and Whiskey was there and interviewed him prior to. And you were there. And then I was there for the follow-up, which was great.
Oh, you got it right then?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, it's all good.
It's all good, man.
But
well, congratulations, Dave. That's super cool.
Heck yeah. Put on a hell of a clinic.
It would have been great.
Yeah. Anyways, check it out. There's so many videos out there, and to get the insight, and it's cool that you would think these guys are not afraid of these obstacles, but they are something to be afraid of. And he admitted, he's like, dude, this is some scary shit that we're doing.
Well, I mean, you fall into those things, and
especially like competition.
You fall in. I mean, like we've said in previous episodes of the show, it's like they may need to disassemble some of the car to get these things out.
Yeah. Some of these. And it's like, if you're not getting nervous anymore, then why are you doing this? Right. It's like you're numb to this whole thing, right? And I can't even imagine being numb to this whole thing. But it's fun to watch. It's fun to see what they can make those cars do, and yeah. Anyways,
what's the next evolution going to be? I mean,
I don't know. They keep pushing it, man. They keep pushing it.
These cars have gotten so. I mean, they're just like spiders, just kind of walking along.
They are.
It's crazy, And I mean, we've seen that rig at King of the Hammers that's hydraulic and can stretch itself out. And shorten it along
exactly
itself. And I mean, is that going to be the next evolution? Are you going to have like cars that can change their competition rock crawlers that'll change their wheelbases? I don't know.
Yeah, and then Jesse Haynes, competed, and like I say, kicked ass in the first two courses. Unfortunately, didn't complete the third course. I mean, he ended up just blowing up some serious drivetrain,
shrapnel,
driver rear portal. Pretty much imploded on itself, being at the extreme traction that he had and pushing the limits. And I mean, here's a guy that designs this stuff, builds this stuff,
everything breaks
for
man.
It. And it's like, yeah, you're just hoping your junk holds together for the run.
Everything has a breaking point.
But the torques, man, it's just a lot of torques, a lot of freaking torques, right?
Put me on the line.
Oh, come on. You got it. Come on. There it is.
You can't handle the
torques. Exactly. So there it is. So,
good job, Lorenzo.
Yes. A little slow. Still on Trail Hero hangover, but he's getting back. But and I do have to say, Lorenzo made a huge impact on Dave Wong's page. A lot of people have been DMing Dave because I guess he had like a little pygmy goat or a little goat or something.
Along those lines,
and so people thought he got a donkey now because it looks realistic, and Lorenzo is real.
Lorenzo's worldwide, man.
He is.
I mean, he's
worldwide. He's a world traveler. So
he's a world traveling donkey with a credit card. Watch out.
With no more credit card. But anyways, that's we can go on and on, but freaking awesome.
Yep.
So cool to witness, and congratulations, Dave, and finally got you on the podcast. Thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule, not once but twice, during Trail Hero 2022 and Trailbreaker 2022 champion.
Yeehaw!
Really freaking cool stuff.
Absolutely.
So with that, Chris,
one more round of applause.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's put a bow on this.
Let's do it.
And
how do they get a hold of us?
Well, you can always email us, Chris or Jason or Lorenzo at wheelingwinewhiskey.com. You can also, don't forget about the IG, which is a direct connection to Jason, which is at Wheeling Wine and Whiskey. You can also reach us or catch all of our episodes, our merch, and the links to Irate 4x4 are at our website, www.wheelingwineandwhiskey.com. And never, ever, ever forget about our phone number, which is super fun, 408-800-5169. What's that number, Jason?
408 516
408 800
5169. And I I had a train of thought there. It's like we have the Element fire extinguisher.
Fucking derailed is what it did.
We have the Element fire extinguisher online on our website.
Yes.
So you can go to wheelingwineandwhiskey.com.
Right.
And go on to the merchandise.
It's a link at the top of the page.
Yep. And on page 2, top of page 2 is the Element fire extinguisher. We do have a little special going right now. So if you were at Trail Hero, there was a little discount code.
If you know, you know.
And if you know, you know. And if you don't know, you can DM me. And if I'm feeling good, I might give you the discount code and you can order up some. So, but it's cool. Dave's running Element. A lot of people, a lot of the rock crawlers out there are running Element fire extinguishers. So we're just trying to get them in people's hands, make them safe. So
absolutely,
we do have them on our website, and there is a little discount if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. DM Jason.
So
at Wheeling Wine and Whiskey.
That's right.
At Wheeling Wine and Whiskey on the IG.
That's right. That's
perfect.
Exactly right. Or you can call. What's that number again, Chris?
408-800-5169.
408-800-5169.
Oh, you get it right this time. Okay, great.
Well, I had a whole train of thought set. So
derailed train is what it was.
That's it. Train wreck. Okay. Well, with that, I think we've covered all the bases and more. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
So looking forward to following Dave Wong in the future.
Hell yeah.
And what he's got, obviously, he's proven himself as a world-class rock crawler. And looking forward to some more extreme action.
See how it evolves.
All right. With that,
we're out.